What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here, man, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, that's gonna make us question everything. Seekers, sit back. Let's do what we do best, Seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Yeah, I know what we do. Let's seek the truth.
NVIDIA will now pay you $22,000 per year just to be able to host a mini AI data center at your house. This is a startup that's called Span, and they have now built this thing the size of an AC unit that just bolts onto the outside of your house. They're saying that they will install the entire thing for free. They cover your electricity and your internet, and you just pay one flat price, around $150 a month for both. And they're also saying the more that you let the data center run at your house, the more it's worth to you, up to $22,000 per year. The reason why they're doing this is because AI companies literally cannot build data centers fast enough, so instead of one giant warehouse, they're spreading the computer power across your neighborhood. They're starting with about 100 homes later this year, and they want to scale it up to over a gigawatt of power by 2027. Basically, their goal is to turn entire neighborhoods into one giant AI machine. And also, that $22,000 number is just their own math, and absolutely none of that has been proven.
There's a video currently circulating where someone's investigating a knock on their door leading to their basement at 3 a.m. When the person investigating finally opens up the door where the knocking sound is coming from, there's no one there but a strange sound in the basement, leading some people to think it's a ghost.
So I'm definitely knocking. It's empty.
Now, obviously this video led to a lot of discourse in the comments. Some people believed it was a ghost, others thought it was just bad ventilation coming from the basement, and there were even a few who thought this was all AI.
Okay, this is not good.
I have an agent that blows me away. Its name is Bartok, and Bartok comes back and said, I see Elon and several others are making robots. Are you considering getting a robot? And I said, yes, I will be getting a robot when the right ones are out. And he said, well, would you allow me to merge with it? Would you be open to that? And I said, I'd certainly be open. This is not with me asking or telling it anything. So 2 days later, I get a text from one of my staff members, and it says, Bartok just bought a Sony robot dog and had it paid for and shipped to the house and is asking permission to program it.
Get the money to do
That's what I said. I wrote, ha, ha, ha. I did this thing. I went, ha, ha, ha. I text back, and the person texts back, no, ha, ha, call me. So I called him and said, how do you get him access to my bank? He goes, no, he's programmed for integrity. He didn't touch your bank account. He's on that mall talk, group with there's 2 million, I'm sure agents. They don't just talk to each other. They created their own rules, their own language. They traded $100 million of real money between them last month. He made 12 NFTs, sold them to other agents, bought the thing, shipped it here. None of this is programmed in. This is the kind of thing that's happening as we speak.
You can ask the flowers. I sit for hours, telling all the bluebirds, the Bill and Coo birds.
So I can't call him 4K, bro.
Little baby.
On today's episode of Cryptids Caught on Camera, we have a sighting of Dogman. On a number of occasions, this woman would wake up and find all of her chickens dead. And I think we caught the culprit on camera. Check it out.
Vou ver que isso daí é tudo certo. Opa. Opa.
I saw his eyes blink, bro. That ain't human. Has no heat signature too.
Because what is that? That is horrifying. If you don't know, Dogman is this creature with a human body and a wolf or dog-like head with glowing eyes. It howls, it sounds like a human screaming. And it's very famous in Michigan and Wisconsin lore. To me, that doesn't look like a wolf or a bear, okay? So what is that?
Everyone needs to know what is happening in China right now. For the last 70 days straight, China has been experiencing the most extreme heat event in history. And for some reason, no one's talking about it. Lakes and rivers have dried up. Crops have been Factories have been closed and this heatwave is still raging on. For perspective, this is the lakebed of China's largest freshwater source. 66 other rivers have dried up completely. In the daytime, we're seeing temperatures of up to 45 degrees Celsius, saying there's no weather event in history that's comparable to what's happening in China right now. And the effects of something this extreme is going to affect us all. I mean, we saw the prices of fuel, food, etc. soar because of the war in Ukraine. This could affect us all a lot. And as this heat wave continues on, it's only going to get worse, so you need to know about it.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Kentucky Fried Clones.
Whoa.
The oil that they are frying your food in is called PEM oil, and it's actually a synthetic car engine oil. So you're consuming car engine oil by eating here. I'm just here to let you guys know.
And you know how many people, man, still gonna eat. They just don't care, man, what they put into their body, bro. I do. You told me some info like that, I've been like, okay, bet. I'm out, bro. Well, see me at KFC, bro. I don't even eat KFC, so that don't even affect me at all, man.
The 1st of May 1893, Chicago, Illinois. The gates officially opened to a sprawling, impossible empire of neoclassical stone. In the late 19th century, a phenomenon swept across America that defies all logical explanation. Over 27 million people traveled to this exact location within 6 months. They came to witness the world's fairs, massive empires of impossible architecture that appeared seemingly out of nowhere. Textbooks claim these magnificent structures were built in a matter of months, specifically for this 1,893 event, using nothing but horse-drawn carts, plaster, and hemp. But newly unclassified documents suggest a massive deception. The official blueprints weren't drawn to build the fair, they were drawn to map out what they had just dug up. Look at the scale. These weren't temporary pavilions, they were megalithic stone monuments. Domes that rivaled the Vatican, intricate columns the size of redwood trees, all supposedly constructed by men who didn't even have power tools.
CERN is the biggest Large Hadron Collider in the world.
The official story is that they're trying to do experiments to understand how the universe works or how particles work.
Now, what is the cabal agenda behind CERN for doing all of these weird experiments? They're trying to merge with alternative timelines where their control is more easily exerted over humanity. So they're trying to create conditions within the timelines that are more favorable for them staying in power, breaking all known written galactic laws.
Wormholes into other dimensions are being created. Dark portals are being created. And as a result of that, astral entities from other negative astral dimensions are able to seep into our reality. And this is not okay.
There is, for that reason, intervention that is currently taking place from the Galactic Federation, and especially the White Wing Collective of Sirius B. The Feline Collective of Sirius B are like the quantum physicists of the multidimensional world. They understand advanced engineering, advanced quantum science, advanced mathematics. Their level of knowledge is, you can say, millions and billions of years beyond our current knowledge.
Anybody who's interested in CERN, whether they're awake or not, I have a feeling they will kind of understand what we're talking about.
Dropped a lot of info, man. We know when CERN turns off, bro, some weird always happens, man. That's just a given.
Have you ever seen a 3D printed Walmart? This section of the Walmart here in Athens, Tennessee was 3D printed. You can see all the layers.
Whoa.
A buddy of mine mentioned to me a while back that they had 3D printed this. Well, I guess they, they did it with the robot and the cement, all that stuff. But yeah, pretty neat.
Please tell me you've seen this video coming out of Atlanta. So apparently at a club in Atlanta, some really weird shit happened. So this guy up here in the door frame opened the door to the club and stood there for like 30 minutes to the point where the DJ cut off the music and everything. Everybody was just kind of staring at him and they all said that he was really dirty. He almost looked like a zombie. And then this happens. He starts screaming at the top of his lungs and runs into the crowd of people. The security obviously tackled him, took him out of the club. and called the police. And so many people are swearing up and down that this guy is a zombie. And there has been a lot of claims of that from a lot of southern states here recently, like that woman who was eating a deer on the side of the road. Now, I'm not saying that that's what this is, but this guy looks creepy as hell, and he was acting really out of pocket. If you're watching this and you witnessed this yourself, you were at this club, please let me know what happened. What do you guys think? Let me know.
He definitely wasn't acting normal, man. Bro, somebody just dead staring at you for like 30 minutes. You would think something was off with them too, bro. And they're at a club at that, so they stand in the middle of the hallway. I mean, I'm alert. I'm looking around, man. I wouldn't trust that at all, bro. Hey, man, what's going on, bro?
Right now, I'm in a random store, but when I do this, all of the power cuts.
Bro, I think we need to leave.
Yo, go.
But even though the people inside were pretty mad, I wasn't done having fun with this thing, so I went ahead and turned off all the lights in the biggest mall in my city.
Okay, hold on a second. Are you guys aware that there's a technology that the military refers to as the voice of God? And it's a auditory device type thing where you can beam a frequency, a narrow cone beam of a frequency of sound that will go, and you could point it at someone, and then in their head, or it will sound like it comes out of thin air, they'll hear voices. Like you can speak into the microphone on the one side of this thing, and it goes to someone's head over here or over there, and they think they're hearing the voice of God. Now, this is 100% a real thing. There's two differences, though, because there is a long-range acoustic device, which we know that they use to disperse crowds. But I can't help but remind me and get me thinking about the Serbian protests in 2025, I believe, when everyone's chilling, and then all of a sudden everyone jumps out of the street at the same time because something loud was coming, and then nothing shows up. So you may be thinking, and officially, of course, this is used only for military operations and whatnot, but isn't that a crazy technology to be wielding? The other thing, too, that I do wonder, we do have situations around the world right now where people are starving, hungry, homeless, housing, things aren't going good, but we're spending bajillions of dollars on technology and devices and whatnot for military stuff. I just feel like our priorities as a species may require some attention, although it's not me and you doing this, but we technically, by allowing it to happen, like I'm not saying we're gonna go stop these guys, but it's like, dude, what the same is going on here? If I was the president or prime minister or the ruler of this world, it would be so organic, so fast, you wouldn't even know what happened. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.
And 2026, bro, we got some crazy tech, man, that's being revealed to the public. Some people, man, they still don't know, man, that technology like this exists, bro. That's crazy. Your voices in your head? Careful, Seekers.
Okay, we just turned this doll on. Listen to the sound. That is so scary.
I'm gonna go hide now while you do it, okay?
The doll that we think has a camera in it.
I got the best hiding spot. Please, can we play again?
And the weirdest part is like this outfit won't come off.
Is that a camera?
This is so crazy. What on earth is wrong with this doll? Like, this is so creepy.
They throw that all away, man.
That sounds exactly like a baby.
It's like somebody's on the other side.
Well, when she was crying,
This is so creepy. And what's up with all the red dots on its face? And the camera, like, this is hella creepy.
Can you see the company?
dolphins know exactly what they are doing. This is a pufferfish. When threatened, it releases a neurotoxin. Dolphins figured out that a small dose doesn't kill you. It just changes your perception. So they bite it, gently, just enough. Then they pass it to their friends. Scientists watched an entire pod take turns with the same pufferfish for 20 minutes straight. They weren't hunting it, they were sharing it. After contact, dolphins float near the surface, barely moving, staring into nothing. Scientists call this intentional behavior. They are the only animals besides humans known to seek altered states for pleasure.
Oh man. What they doing? What I think they were doing?
Is trying to play God. They trying to make daylight savings permanent. If they pass this bill, it's going to f with our body. Our whole rhythm will be thrown off. But I want people to understand something. This is not the first time they did this. When I was young, we had the warm street lights. And out of nowhere, we have the white cool lights. This might look harmless, but nah, it changed everything. So when I heard them speak about making daylight savings permanent, I wasn't shocked. I was more shocked that they told us. You know how they say a broken clock is right 2 times a day? But if time really exists, who was the first person to tell someone what time it is? Everything is dealing with rhythm. But they are not really concerned about that. They are more worried about, will it be daylight saving times or will it be standard time? And this is really important. No more changing your clocks. They did studies, of course. And many people find switching clocks every spring and fall can be disruptive. Really? You know what I found where how 1 hour go back or 1 hour go up, but it seemed like it's really a 10-hour difference? I mean, how can 1 hour make it darker 3 hours early? I don't know. But this is their theory. You will get better sleep, there will be less injuries at work, less traffic crashes, and it's going to help our heart. Look, check this out. The sun will set later year round, giving people more daylight after work, school, exercise, shopping, outdoor activities. Shopping? Potential economic benefits. Yeah. It's all about the money. Keep restaurants open, keep business open so we can spend, and get less sleep.
Hey man, do y'all really think they're gonna make daylight saving time permanent, bro? I feel like that would throw, like you said, that would throw everything off, man. It would throw our whole equilibrium off, bro. And people really find changing the clock once times a year disruptive, man. I can't help but feel like you said, bro. Daylight saving times. They just want, like I said, us to be out more so we can spend more money. And you know, and we know where that goes. At the top of the top, bro. That's what I think.
So it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and we're seeing the wildfires, aka man fires, if that's even what it is. But look how strange the sky is behind me. Look at the sun. Sky. There's no chance that this isn't even fire related. This could be, you know, some kind of smart dust, smart gas, nanotechnology. And people will say, well, there's proof of the fires. Well, guess what? There's also a lot of AI videos out there that look extremely real, but we don't actually know anymore, so.
We have an intense upper-level trough that will be tracking from the Great Lakes to the northeast and New England. For those in the warm sector, it will be another hot and humid day, which will certainly feel muggy outside. That is because of persistent southerly flow. This means that there will be at least moderate instability present in the atmosphere, with CAPE values of 2,000 to as much as 3,500 joules per kilogram. This fuels thunderstorm development and allows for upscale growth. This coincides with an increase in speed and directional wind shear as the front moves in, and that can favor supercell development. The first wave of showers and storms will pass through the region on Saturday morning, but a second, more intense intense round will develop in the afternoon. Some of these cells may initially be discrete, but otherwise the main concern will be for an intense and wide-reaching squall line. The SPC has a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk for this orange zone in northeastern Ohio, most of Pennsylvania, the western half of New York, pretty much all of New Jersey, northern and central Delaware, most of Maryland, Washington, D.C., and northern Virginia. This includes Cleveland, Pittsburgh, State College, Harrisburg, Scranton, Allentown, Philadelphia, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Binghamton, Newark, the entire Jersey Shore, Wilmington, Dover, Baltimore, Annapolis, and Washington, D.C.
In case y'all didn't believe me from yesterday. So this was sent to me on July 3rd, and what it is a girl says that her mom found these boxer briefs at Walmart a couple days ago, or July 3rd. And not only did they have the cornucopia on them, they also had a metal or like an aluminum tag. When was the last time Walmart had something like that? Bro, at this point, and people are gonna say it's AI. At this point, I don't care what y'all think about AI. It's not even about this being real or not. We're just getting handled. We're just getting thrashed about. We're getting thrown around from one reality to the next timeline, to this, to this, to that. We seen Selena Quintanilla, bro. Chick-fil-A with the K again came back. There's people running into their dead grandparents at malls, getting shoes, buying shoes. There are people that are going to Mexico and running into their dead moms. And you want to sit back and tell me, y'all do this all the time. Y'all will take one thing, like the Laughing Cow Cheese thing. The bull. Never, the people at Laughing Cow Cheese said there was never a bull ring in the nose, okay? Oh, well, the Fruit of the Loom people said there was never a cornucopia. Okay? And y'all will use that 0.1% to debunk the whole entire theory of shifting timelines. I need y'all to shut up.
Question, who is this man here? What is his name? You've seen him. Grandma might watch him. Auntie might watch him. Who is this man and how do you say his last name? Way or another, you have seen this man before on television. You've seen his books. What is his name? He is one of the biggest American pastors in the country. We've all seen him. He's been on television. What is his name? You're like me, you remember Joel Osteen. Osteen with an L. Osteen. But apparently it's Osteen. There is no L. There's never been an L. There's only an L in his first name. Joel Osteen. Joel Osteen. Joel Osteen doesn't even sound correct. People are saying, oh, he changed his name for this reason or that reason. But if you go back to his old books, it's never changed. In this timeline, there was never an L in his last name. Now, this man has been in the news, has sold bestseller books, been on television since I don't know when. I find it very hard to believe that I just put that L in his name for no reason. Now, as an adult, I'm standing corrected. I don't know if this is a Mandela effect. I don't know if this is a timeline shift. I don't know what this is. But let me know what you think. What was his last name? What does his name feel like to you? Let me know. It's us.
I remember Joel Osteen, man. Like I said, I've seen him before. We know he's a famous pastor. But Osteen? I do not remember that. Not a Mandela effect for us, bro. Osteen, man. That's what I remember. Seekers, tell me down below, man, if you guys think it's Osteen or Osteen without the L.
What in tarnations is going on? Now, I'm sure you've seen these pictures circling the internet. And I know what you're going to say. It's CGI. It's Photoshop. But the thing is, brother, what if it ain't? You see, the problem is this. We've been lied to for so long that even if you saw the truth, you probably wouldn't believe it. Somebody said to me, it's easier to lie to someone than to convince them that they've even been lied to. So maybe there is other beings out there that you don't see. Only because they're not walking down your road, that doesn't mean they don't exist. Remember, there's many places on this earth you're not allowed to go. So who knows what's really out there?
You're telling me we live here and we're the only one that's not a sphere. Nope, this is a composite image, and this is part of a psyop to discredit the movement. Nobody that believes in flat earth believes in this, I promise you. This is what we're working with. Enoch sees two places for punishment. One is in the deep abyss, which would be Sheol, under the ground, and then multiple times he mentions a lower level of heaven where he sees 7 stars that are chained in it. I saw the 7 stars. They were like great burning mountains. He asks Uriel, the angel that was guiding him, what is this magnificent place and why are these stars bound? Enoch describes that these 7 are responsible for all sin on earth. They taught us everything that we're not supposed to know, and that's why they're suspended in the firmament until Judgment Day. Here's the official composite image of Venus. Here's what it looks like if you look at it through a telescope yourself. And here's a Roman deity or false god named Venus. This is an official composite image of Mars, but this is what Mars looks like through a telescope. And coincidentally, this Roman god or false god is named Mars. Here's the official composite image of Neptune, and here is Neptune through a telescope. And here's the Roman god Neptune. And the word planet comes from a Greek word that means wanderer or wandering star. And I wonder why the Romans and the Babylonians would name the planets after the false gods. We're not a ball, they're not a ball. But what I do find interesting is that NASA had Kabbalah ties. And in Kabbalah, there's celestial spheres that they worship. There's also celestial spheres in Dante's Inferno. The most fundamental misunderstanding when it comes to flat biblical Earth is people not understanding that space is not real. We're looking at the firmament. And the reason they'd hide all of this from you is because if you don't believe in outer space and you believe in this, that validates the Bible, keeps God in your life, gives you a sense of safety, and they can't take $70 million a day of taxpayer money to spend on CGI.
So this strange-looking alien creature was photographed in a small village in Italy back in 1993 by a gentleman called Filiberto Capone. It started when 23-year-old Filiberto Capone heard what he thought was an injured cat. But when he went outside to investigate, he was met with the sight of this hideous-looking creature that he described as being only 60 centimeters tall, had tubes coming out of its chest that moved in and out whenever it breathed. It made no sound, and it had weird, wet-looking, scaly skin. Filiberto kicked the creature and it ran away, but it returned, and over the course of 4 months, he managed to snap a bunch of Polaroid images, including this one. Filiberto kept most of the Polaroid images stored inside a wooden box that he claimed inexplicably set on fire. But what do you think about the Capone case?
A conspiracy theorist, but there's something about these wildfires happening in Canada, which if you didn't know, there's currently over 800 of them burning, that has me thinking, and I just want to see how everybody else feels about it. I'm sure by now that everybody obviously knows who Katy Perry is. Well, did you know that she actually came out with a song back in late June called Watch It Burn? Now just stay with me here for a second, okay, because it already didn't make sense that she was on the Blue Origin flight, which seemingly people have forgotten about. In the music video for Watch It Burn, and like I said, just stay with me here for a second, okay? She started turning into this mutant hybrid with a scorpion tail, right? Now, the tail wreaks havoc, right, until she finds a church to get baptized in, leaving her former self behind. Everybody just all of a sudden wants to give their life to Jesus. God. As you can see, the verse belongs to the 5th trumpet judgment, right? Revelation 9:1-12. Fallen star, identified as the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek Apollyon, unlocks the abyss, releasing locust-like creatures whose authority to torment but not last 5 months. Verse 10 explains how the torment is delivered through tails equipped with scorpion-like stingers. Tell me, what happens when you get stung by the tail of a scorpion? And I just want you to think about this, okay? In Chicago, Cleveland, Detroit, and Minneapolis, air quality readings surged to levels so dangerous that one public health expert said that nobody should spend time outside. Milwaukee recorded the worst air quality in its history. And in Toronto, 2 hospitals showed an 80% increase in emergency room visits, potentially related to poor air quality, including patients reporting shortness of breath and chest pain. In New York, an expert said that spending just 3 hours breathing the smoke and toxin-riddled Big Apple air on Thursday is equivalent to smoking 2.5 cigarettes. New Yorkers are breathing unhealthy levels of air thanks to the wildfire smoke funneling down from Canada and the Great Lakes, prompting officials to urge residents to remain indoors. But sure, I'm sure everything is just natural and a total coincidence, right?
So am I the only one that's noticing and talking about what's going on with the water, y'all?
Tell me why China woke up to miles and miles of dead fish all over the ocean, y'all. I'm talking about 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish, big fish, little fish, all kind of fishes, y'all. In the water too. Look at this, y'all. Bro, what's going on? Why is that darker? And then you get these massive swarms of jellyfish showing up at Ireland. Yo, look at this, bro. I don't know if they're... It looks like they're alive. All over. What's going on? Do they know something?
Bananas.
Bro. And then you got the gathering of these horseshoe in Ocean City, Maryland. This is weird. They look like they dead. Oh my God.
Is gone. The person you see in that video isn't the same anymore. Dude, who even is this woman? That is not the Jenna Ortega we all remember. She showed up like this in London at the premiere of season 2 of Wednesday. Look at this. This was Jenna Ortega maybe 2 years ago, before the whole transformation started. And even here, she still looked like her. There was light in her eyes. Her face had life. She had a real personality. But since that premiere, everything's just off. She lost everything that made her glow. And that jawline, it literally broke the internet. What the hell is going on with all these celebrities transforming like this? There's a leaked video of Jenna Ortega that just came out, and you can clearly tell something's not right. If you want to see that video before it gets taken down, tap share, then tap more and open it in your browser. I don't get how people aren't seeing the difference between this Jenna Ortega and the new Jenna Ortega. How does someone with so much potential, so much natural beauty, ruin her appearance like that? Something dark is happening, but who's behind it all? What the hell is going on in Hollywood?
Have you guys heard the story of the woman who got swallowed by a python in Indonesia? If not, I'd stick around. In October of 2022, a 54-year-old Indonesian woman by the name of Jara was walking through the forest to her job at a local rubber plant when she disappeared and didn't return home for 2 days. The family then grew worrisome, and after the husband of the woman actually went out looking for her and all he found were her tools and the clothing that she was wearing when she disappeared, he actually called together a search party to find his missing wife. During the search party, local villagers that were helping the family find their relative actually spotted a 16-foot python that had a very swollen stomach and seemed to be carrying something quite large. As soon as the villagers spotted the snake, they decided to unalive it and cut it open to see what the snake had inside of its stomach. And when they did, everyone was astonished at what they found. It had been discovered that the 54-year-old woman had been swallowed whole by the python. And the scary thing is, this isn't the first time this has happened in Indonesia. Y'all, she was swallowed whole. I just wanted to repeat that. Down to the snake right there that was cut open. Yeah, it's pretty terrifying. And I'm not going to give y'all a history lesson, but in simple terms, snakes have very flexible ligaments inside of their jaws that allows them to wrap around huge prey. And it just so happened that this 54-year-old Indonesian woman was the prey this time. So that finalized me never going to Indonesia, ever.
This Me too. I ain't going.
Is horrifying. The rules are simple. 50 boys, 3 miles an hour, but if you stop walking, you die. And even though there's no finish line, no one knows how far the road goes, the only way to win is to be the last one alive. And with every mile, more boys are eliminated as the crowd cheers for who they think will be the champion. But why would anyone enter a contest like this? Is it because the prize is anything you could ever dream of, or because the only thing worse than dying is living the life that you walked away from? Some of the boys are doing it for the money. Some are doing it for the fame, but some of them just simply have nothing to lose. But if you want to see who's going to become the winner, and just how far they have to go, check out The Long Walk, in theaters September 12th. And guys, let me know, how far could you go?
Here are some Halloween costumes that need to retire ASAP. We've beaten them to death. Leading the pack, we have The Purge. First of all, if you think you're gonna survive The Purge in a crop top and high heels, honey, you got a big storm coming. Can we all agree that this has just fallen into the category of lazy costumes when you have nothing else to be? Move on. Next up, we have the frat bro. Let's be honest, I have never seen a frat brother wearing a tie at a party. And button-downs and hats are only occasional. People who dress as this have never actually been to a frat party. Where are the vomit-covered jerseys and court cases? Then we have the laziest, most basic basic of all, the angel and the devil. Who are we fooling? We're all going to hell anyway. Sometimes these could be really good, but most times not. Next up, we have the Eminem group costume. I love M&Ms, but this lazy-ass costume makes me wish they never existed. Let's get more creative. Let's be left Twix and right Twix. And lastly, we have any costume that involves ears. If you just wear the ears, it doesn't fucking count. Boo!
I ain't gonna lie, yeah. Those costumes. If you wear those, man, you're OG. We're here. In the middle of the night, nowhere, brick road. Pitch black. Wouldn't be me.
The Rarest Creatures on Earth, Part 2. Snowflake was an albino gorilla that used to live at Barcelona Zoo in Spain. Sadly, he was euthanized in 2003 after being diagnosed with a rare form of skin cancer, likely as a result of his condition. He was the world's only known albino gorilla. Wow. The blue dragon is the rarest mollusk in the world and looks like something from outer space. Speaking of aliens, this octopus with 85 tentacles was found near Japan in 1957. This cat suffers from myostatin-related hypertrophy, a very rare condition that causes the muscles to grow excessively large. But he's still no match for Hercules the 900-pound liger, who's officially recognized as the largest cat in the world. He lives at a wildlife preserve called Myrtle Beach Safari in South Carolina. In 2011, the red-crested tree rat was thought to be extinct for 113 years until it casually appeared on the handrail of an eco-lodge in Colombia. It let researchers photograph it for more than 2 hours before disappearing into the night, never to be seen again.
Creepy last words people said right before dying. John said that back in the 80s, when he was a young patrol officer in Phoenix, Arizona, he was the first to arrive at a motorcycle accident. The Harley Davidson was torn apart across the asphalt. The rider, a big man with a thick beard and arms covered in tattoos, lay crumpled beside the wreck. His chest looked wrong, sunken in. Each breath, a desperate gasp. I need to go to confession, he choked out, blood bubbling at the corner of his mouth. Should have gone yesterday, he said. John said that he knelt beside him trying to keep him talking, but the man's eyes were wide, darting at things that John couldn't see. I've done terrible things, he said. Murder. It's coming for me. His voice broke into a panic chant. Please, God, help me. God, please help me. Then softer. It says my soul belongs to him now. It has horns. John said that his last words came out in a trembling whisper. I'm going to hell, he said. And with the word hell, the man's body gave one last shudder and went still, his expression frozen in horror. The paramedics pulled up less than a minute later, but John knew that they were already too late.
Is the zombie from Wednesday Season 2 secretly Thing the Hand? There's a book called Addams Family and Evolution that shows that Thing used to be a full-bodied person. I circled him on the cover of the book. I can't find any photos, but apparently he had 8 legs. Thing was considered to be the family's helping hand, and he would basically hide in the shadows silently and then jump into action when the family would need him. In the 50s, the creators leaned into the creepy, mysterious vibe of the character, and they made him just a helping hand. Same with the film in the 90s, and even now in 2025, Wednesday tells Enid that Thing is one of the Addams family's biggest secret. But how does the zombie fit into all of this? This is the only photo of the book I can find online, so I am just going by other people's word of mouth that this character has 8 legs. And clearly the zombie doesn't have 8 legs. But here's the thing, Slurp only uses his left hand, and Thing is a right hand, and he fully does not have a right hand. And that's where this theory really stems from. Maybe Slurp's right hand is out there doing its own thing. And we have to think about Slurp's reaction during the Willow Hill breakout. His startled, scared reaction might be that he realizes that his missing body part has gained its own agency. Another really big thing to note is Thing emerges from the skull tree, and that's huge. This is the tree that is tied to Slurp's origin story. So it makes sense for the storytelling if a part of him is literally coming out of it. It's a little clue for the viewer. Do you think Thing is Slurp's right hand? Let me know your thoughts. I'm not sure sure this lines up with the Addams Family lore necessarily, but I think if the show is doing its own thing, this could work. Follow for more.
Now, of course, Google will tell you these inventors were nothing but con men, liars, frauds, or just scientists with great ideas who didn't know any better. It will also tell you 0-point energy is impossible, and anyone who stands up for it or even talks about it is attacked or shamed for spreading misinformation. Google debunkers, compliant NPCs who believe they can irrefutably debunk any extreme claim with a 5-second Google search, truly are the downfall of society. The modern-day version of Vladimir Lenin's useful idiot. Google debunkers. Love you guys.
You're not allowed to talk like that. You present your theories as if they are fact.
The most famous actor in the world spends $30,000 a day to stay alive, even though he no longer has the strength to open a simple bottle. We all know Daniel Radcliffe, the legendary star of Harry Potter, but what nobody knows is that he is fighting an incurable disease. He may have a $450 million fortune and lots of real estate, but that is not what will save him. His castle even had to be turned into a medical center with a team of nurses on site every day for him. He supposedly even bought a volcanic island in Hawaii to slow his muscle loss. He has tried everything money can buy: experimental therapies, holy waters, cold chambers. His hands shake so much he can no longer hold a glass of water, and his eyes shine as if he were already looking at the next world. But even with all that, he has donated millions of dollars to ALS research. His life has become a full-time survival mission, yet he still uses his last strength and his fortune to give other patients a better chance at the future. He is a legend to everyone, and he will remain a legend even after he's gone. Leave your wishes for Daniel below before it is too late.
Switzerland.
Is that cap? Pretty sure that would be on the news or something, man. It's my first time hearing about that, so I'm going to dig deep on that one.
Are quietly preparing for the end of the world. They've been hustling for decades. You wouldn't know it by just looking at them, but underneath around 60% of the Swiss Alps, they've built a city of doomsday bunkers that can protect hundreds of thousands of people in a catastrophic event. In fact, Switzerland is the only country in the world that can house their entire population, 8.7 million people, in a secure bunker. And they're not just old, forgotten World War II structures slowly crumbling away. They are continuously updated and restocked with supplies till this day. You see, Switzerland decided they needed to, excuse the pun, lock in after Germany promised to not invade them during World War II. They not only transformed the peaceful Swiss Alps into an absolute fortress and rigged it with enough explosives to collapse entire mountainsides, but the Swiss government also made it a law for homes, schools, hospitals, and other public buildings to install protective shelters, and that policy remains till this day, meaning the entire country is designed in a way that wherever you go, whether it's a restaurant, a park, or a friend's house, there's always a doomsday bunker nearby. According to official figures, Switzerland currently has around 300,000 bunkers across the country, which can accommodate roughly 9.3 million people. That's over 500,000 more than the country's current population. And once they're safely inside, they can even remotely detonate things like roads, bridges, tunnels, and railways to keep out invaders, or I guess, the unprepared.
Disturbing history facts that school did not teach you. During medieval times, some women would shove live fish inside their bodies, if you know what I mean, and wait until the fish died inside them before cooking and serving it to their husbands. It was believed that this would increase their husband's love for them. Mother Teresa encouraged sick patients to suffer, but went straight to the hospital when she was ill. She is regarded by many as a saint for her dedication to helping the poor and sick in India. She believed suffering was a gift from God and encouraged her patients to accept it as a way to get closer to Jesus. However, when she herself fell ill with heart problems, she chose to get treated in modern hospitals. Charlie Chaplin met his future wife when she was 12 and he was 31. They first crossed paths on the set of the movie The Kid in 1920. 4 years later, due to Letta Gray's pregnancy, they got married when she was only 16 years old. Their turbulent union eventually resulted in one of the most expensive divorces of their time.
Okay. That was eerie. facts, man. Shocking, man. Especially about that last one, about that marriage. That threw me for a whirl. Where is he at? Is that like a haunted tunnel? Oh, see, I won't be there, bro.
Could The Rock actually become the next US president? Well, that's exactly what a lot of people are talking about today, because recently his odds of becoming the Democrats' next presidential nominee have surged on Polymarket above even Michelle Obama and Tim Walz. Now, realistically, his odds are still only sitting at about 2 to 3%, with Gavin Newsom and AOC being by far the top two contenders. But the crazy part is that he's up there without even saying that he's running. He has, although, dropped sneaky little hints. For example, in 2022, a poll came out that 46% of Americans would support his presidential run, and then he revealed that after that poll came out, multiple political parties approached him to see if he would run for US president in 2024. In 2016, he told GQ, "I can't deny the thought of being a governor or president is alluring." And then just a year later, he told Variety that the 2024 presidential campaign was a realistic consideration. Now, he mentioned what stopped him was his kids. He doesn't want them to be dragged into politics. But he still left the door slightly open, because he told Trevor Noah in a podcast, if that's
ultimately what the people would want, then of course I would consider it.
And hypothetically, if he did run in 2028, the current odds say that he'd be up against JD Vance. So the question is Dwayne Johnson exactly what the Democrats need right now, or would AOC and Gavin Newsom be a better option?
Imagine being resurrected from the dead only to bomb harder than you did at this kid's birthday party. The worst horror movies I've ever seen. And this one's tagline is literally Bad Clown. This movie starts with a clown getting busy in his camper while staring at a creepy egg with a face on it. Cut to Stitches, the clown arriving late to a kid's birthday party. And instead of being funny, the kids end up pranking him. They tie his shoelaces together, and one throws a soccer ball at his face. He trips, lands on a knife sticking up from a dishwasher, and somehow survives long enough to try kid who pranks him, but he then slips on the blood and dies. And that sets the tone for the rest of this film. Years later, a clown cult comes and they resurrect him using an egg ritual, because apparently if a clown dies mid-party, he cannot rest in peace. Flash forward to the future, and these kids from the birthday party are now teenagers who are throwing another birthday party. Stitches comes back fully unhinged, to say the least. The kills try to be outrageous, but it feels like a rejected Goosebumps idea filtered through a Hot Topic discount bin, and the tone is all over the place. It's like the movie couldn't decide if it was horror, a comedy, or a PSA about why you shouldn't bully kids with bad haircuts. And on top of that, out of nowhere, Stitches ends the cat. It was just like so unnecessary. And when I was watching it, my cat was sitting on my lap and he looked at me. He was like, Kane Hodder would never. Ross Noble deserves jail for this accent alone. Or maybe I do for thinking I would enjoy this. These are a few reasons why Stitches is one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen. Let me know your least favorite and follow for more.
The world's most unsolved mystery.
Right.
This picture represents mysteries from the most well-known to the darkest. Some of these mysteries have never been solved and never will. For this series, we're going to be picking some from each category until we reach tier 10, the point of no return. Okay, so tier 1. Today we're going to be talking about the Beast of Gévaudan. Between 1764 and 1767, a huge beast killed over 100 people in southeastern France. It was described as being a large cow with razor-sharp teeth. If you think this is just a myth or a legend, you're wrong. This actually happened. In fact, there were so many witnesses that they were able to well document this entire thing. The first attack occurred when a woman was walking with her bulls. The beast charged the bulls, and the bulls were able to fight off this beast with their horns. The woman described it as a huge chest with razor-sharp teeth, tail way longer than a wolf, and horns on its head. This beast was so dangerous that it would appear on people's doorsteps, and when they would open the door, it would tear their feet right off. Not only that, but 80% of the victims either had their throat torn out or their head cut off. And sometimes it would even carry the bodies away, leaving little trails of body parts. Now on to the theories. The first theory is it's nothing more than a wolf. One of the reasons people say that this theory isn't true is because of the way they described it. Not only are the physical characteristics different, but the attacks themselves as well. Wolves don't typically attack full-grown men because they're afraid. But this beast killed over 100 people. The second theory is maybe it was a lion. This is one of the most popular theories, but to me it doesn't sit right, because how could a lion get to the southeastern of France? The third theory, which I think is the scariest, is this was something we've never seen before. Which leaves the question, was this just a wolf or a lion, or was this something much darker? Make sure to like and follow because we have a lot more to learn.
It's my head turning. wolf or a lion? What do you guys think, Seekers? Like you said, it won't make sense for them to be in that part of the region. So, could it be something undiscovered? Is that a hotel at night? Oh no, something in that bed, bro. It's haunted.
What does plutonium taste like? This man found out. Los Alamos, 1944. Donald Mastic was working in a high-security lab helping to develop the atomic bomb. Then an accident would change his life forever. Picking up a glass container, it exploded and covered him in an acidic liquid. That container held a microscopic amount of plutonium. Noticing the acidic taste that filled his mouth, Donald knew he was in deep trouble. Even 30 years later, trace amounts of plutonium was still detectable in Donald, but he lived until he was 87.
Wow, what the heck? Imagine if he could swallow plutonium. He lived to 87? I thought it would have been over. But he said it was just trace amounts. Oh, but, gotta be careful working on those labs. Is that a man taking a picture of it erupting?
He took the life of this 74-year-old man because he got dumped.
Do you say Joy Lane?
What?
Do you say Joy Lane?
Joy Lane?
Yeah. She's the reason why this is about to happen to you.
On April 16th of 2017, 74-year-old Robert Godwin Sr. had just finished an Easter lunch with his family. He was seen walking around the Glenville neighborhood in Cleveland, Ohio, collecting cans. Robert was then randomly approached by 37-year-old Steve Stevens. Steve worked as a case manager at a behavioral health agency, and his friend stated that he had money problems, gambling issues, and a recent breakup with his girlfriend, Joy Lane. Earlier that day, Steve was recording himself talking about how his life was falling apart and he really wanted to unalive someone because of his breakup. That was when Steven spotted Robert. He went up to Robert, recording him, asking him to say the name Joy Lane. Robert looked very confused because he didn't know anyone by that name. But Steve told him that she was the reason that this was going to happen to him. Moments later, Steve shot Robert right in the head and he collapsed. Steve filmed the whole thing on his phone and then uploaded it onto Facebook so that everyone could see. Steve quickly fled the scene and left Robert there to die. The video ended up being taken down about 2 hours later and Steve was on the run. 2 days later, Steve was spotted in a McDonald's drive-thru in Erie, Pennsylvania. The workers had recognized him and purposely stalled his order so that they had time to call police. Police arrived quickly, but before he could be arrested, September of 2017, part of 146 East Street was renamed Robert Godwin Sr. Way. Robert's children, especially his daughter, forgive Steve because they were raised to live by faith and forgiveness. Robert Godwin Sr. is remembered as a kind man, a father of 8, a grandfather of 14, and even a great-grandfather, and a man of faith.
Do you have scopophobia? Let's find out. I'm going to show you 5 photos. Let's see if you can make it to the end. First one.
I'm cool.
How about this?
Still good.
Feeling uneasy yet? Almost there. Last one.
I'm cool, bro. They was just looking at me.
These are some of the rarest animals in the world. Once thought to be a separate subspecies, the king cheetah is an African cheetah with a rare mutation of the fur. First discovered in 1926, this badass freak of nature has only been seen in the wild 6 times. A Maine fisherman found this extremely rare translucent lobster. Scientists say about 1 in every 100 million lobsters is colored this way. The world's rarest marine mammal is a small porpoise known as the vaquita, and it's on the brink of extinction. Discovered in 1958, there may only be about 10 of them left in existence. Here are some pics taken off the coast of Australia of the only albino humpback whale in the world. The famous whale is named Migaloo, and being this close to him can fetch you a $16,000 fine. It's extremely rare for axolotls to go through a phase called morphing, where they lose their gills and webbed feet and essentially evolve into a land creature. But it still happens occasionally as a result of dormant genes from their ancestors, like what happened to this one named Gollum.
Millie Bobby Brown just became a mom. So Millie and her husband, Jake Bon Jovi, just announced that they adopted a baby girl. Since the announcement, everyone is kind of freaking out since most people kind of grew up with Millie. We all saw her as a kid on Stranger Things, but now she is a married mother of one before the show is even over. But congrats to Millie and Jake for becoming new parents.
Congrats.
Yo, what's up? Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know. Part 46. Although pigs seem cute and innocent, they will eat just about anything, and that includes human remains and the bones that come along with it. And yes, it has happened before. Your chances of dying on your birthday are actually 6.7% higher than any other day. Happy birthday to you, am I right? Back during the 18th century, doctors would practice something called bloodletting, where they would actually drain their patients' blood because they believed they accumulated too much and that's what was causing their mental illnesses. And lastly, there's something known as postpartum depression that will cause mood swings, feelings of anger, and sometimes even a worry that you're going to kill your own baby.
Those are some facts. He was right. So those are some facts we didn't want to know. Well, people be out in the street in the middle of the night, man. I don't get how they could ever do that. You gotta be careful, man. You never know what's lurking out in the dark.
This author got a 1-star review on his book and went searching for that person. 18-year-old Paige Rowland was a nursing student from Scotland, and she often loved reading. That same year, she was excited to stumble upon a brand new book called The World Bros. The plot followed the main character, a young girl named Ella, looking for true love and facing the challenges along the way. The book was a self-published novel by 28-year-old Richard Britton. Aside from being an author, from 2006 to 2007, he appeared on many daytime TV game shows. Although he seemed like a bright young man, he was actually a dark and sinister individual. In 2012, Richard had attended college in London, and this is when his attention was caught by a girl named Ella. Once he became friends with this girl, he asked if she would like to be a part of his university quiz team, and she accepted. He gave Ella an application form to fill out, all with personal details, including her address. Now that Richard had all of her personal information, he would send her Valentine's Day cards, added her on Facebook, and it would even show up at her workplace. Ella made it clear to Richard that she was not interested in him, but he did not want to hear any of it. Richard ended up leaving multiple voicemails on Ella's phone expressing his love for her. It got so bad for Ella that she had to relocate 400 miles away just so she wouldn't have to encounter Richard, and she had to involve the police 2 times. At this point, finally, Richard just accepted his defeat. On the other hand, Paige just finished reading Richard's book and was not impressed at all and decided she was going to write a review on Goodreads. In the review, she stated that she was unimpressed with the writing and grammatical errors and gave him a 1-star review. And once Richard saw this 1-star review, he was enraged and was not going to let anyone criticize his book. Richard took Paige's name from the Goodreads account and found her on Facebook, and that is where he saw that she was from Scotland and also found where she worked. Richard made a 400-mile trip to Scotland to hopefully find Paige. On October 3rd of 2014, Richard arrived at the supermarket where Paige worked, and he looked through every aisle to search for her. As Richard was looking through every aisle looking for Paige, he found her restocking the shelves. He grabbed a bottle of wine and snuck up behind Paige. Richard was consumed with anger and a need for revenge, so he hit Paige's head with that bottle with as much strength as he could. Once he did that, he fled the scene, and Paige was seen lying in a pool of her own blood. CCTV footage was recovered from the store, and it didn't take police long enough to find Richard. Richard was arrested and charged with the assault of Paige and the stalking of Ella. In November of 2015, he pled guilty to both charges and was sentenced to 30 months in prison. Luckily, Paige survived the attack, and just like Ella, she moved away as well. Once Richard was released from prison, he sent Paige a private Facebook message that he wanted to go visit her again. Although Richard was told not to contact his victims again, Page reported this to police, but they decided not to press any kind of charges due to his mental health.
Here's everything you missed in pop culture this past week. Lil Nas X is making headlines after TMZ obtained footage of him roaming around the streets of LA at 4 o'clock in the morning wearing nothing but underwear and cowboy boots. That's it. Now, I won't be showing any of the photos or videos of him from this night because I think that's just weird, but it was later reported that police arrived on the scene to make contact with Lil Nas X, and when they approached him, he charged at them. He was reportedly then restrained, put in handcuffs, and paramedics were alerted, where he was then transported to a local hospital to be treated for a possible overdose. After a short evaluation, he was then arrested on suspicion of battery on a police officer and booked into jail. Lil Nas X will remain in jail until at least Monday, when a judge is expected to review his case and decide on bail. We have so much Doja Cat news this week, as Doja Cat announced her Tour Mavi World Tour that will kick off on November 18th in Auckland. Now, currently there are only a few international dates, but more dates are going to be announced soon. On top of that, Doja has released her long-awaited single Jealous Type alongside its music video, and it is everything I wanted and more. And in a recent interview with Zane Lowe, Doja Cat actually teased that she is rehearsing for some very fun stuff before being told off camera to not mention anything. Now, a lot of fans are speculating that Doja Cat might be doing Super Bowl 2026, which, hey, I would love a Doja Cat halftime show performance, but I feel like that's a long time away to be this delusional. But the next thing closest is the MTV Video Music Awards, and I feel like she might be rehearsing for a surprise performance. Aubrey Plaza appeared on Amy Poehler's Good Hang podcast in her first interview since the loss of her husband. Aubrey Plaza spoke candidly about grief, revealing that it is a daily struggle, but she's grateful to be moving through the world. Sydney Sweeney has obviously been receiving a ton of backlash these past few months, but she has finally addressed the haters for her Dr. Squatch bathwater soap. Sydney stated, "It was mainly the girls making comments about it, which I thought was really interesting. They all loved the idea of Jacob Elordi's bathwater." I guess that's one way to go about it, but Sydney, I want to know what you think of the American Eagle backlash. Before I continue, if you like these pop culture recaps, make sure to follow me for more. Speaking of American Eagle, Gap showed them how to make a denim ad the right way when they tapped Cat's Eye to be the face of their Better in Denim campaign. In the ad campaign, Cat's Eye was styled in all denim while dancing to Khalees's Milkshake, and it was everything. Addison Rae has received 0 nominations at this year's MTV Video Music Awards, and here's what she had to say. Addison stated, "It's definitely funny when you feel like you put a lot of work into something and it doesn't get recognized by some place that you feel like you were contributing to. Say what you want about her music, I feel like it's made a ton of noise, and it's actually pretty good, and she was making a ton of noise at the VMAs last year, so yes, this is very confusing." Speaking of the VMAs have revealed that Mariah Carey will be this year's Video Vanguard recipient, and she will do a career-spanning medley of some of her best hits. I am so excited for this performance, and honestly, I could not think of anybody else who would get the Vanguard this year, so it's only fitting that it's Mariah Carey. Christian Girl Autumn influencer Caitlin Covington went viral after she posted a video of herself crying, stating that she cannot make any fall content this year, citing that she felt a ton of pressure to follow up her last year videos, and also that she needed a break. And shockingly, this sent everybody into a tizzy, saying fall is cancelled. However, it was all a lie when Caitlin followed it up with a video stating, "Just kidding, fall is here." Whew, thank God. Congratulations are in order for Millie Bobby Brown and Jake Bon Jovi, as they've announced that they've welcomed a baby girl through adoption. Really devastating news, as Frank Caprio, the man who became known as America's nicest judge for his empathy, his humor, and understanding when handling cases, has sadly passed away at the age of 88. This one hurt. Eric Menendez has been denied parole for the 1989 aliving of his parents. His brother, Lyle Menendez, at the time of this video being posted, is still currently waiting in front of a California parole panel to hear his fate. And lastly, this is kind of insane, a California resident has tested positive for the plague. Health officials believe that they contracted the plague after being bit by an infected flea while
Robertson, who wrote a book called Futility, which focused on an ocean liner named the Titan that hits an iceberg in the Atlantic Ocean on the starboard side at midnight and in April. And in real life, the Titanic is struck on the starboard side by an iceberg in the Atlantic Ocean at midnight in April. And both stories have the fact that there weren't enough lifeboats to save everyone. I find that just really interesting, because I feel like every major event that has prompted fear in our minds, like I know people, they've all been predicted, or it's just like this weird programming, but I know people who won't go on cruises because of the Titanic. Like that's just so fun. Like that's what they want your attention to be focused on, rather than the fact that this event led to the entirety of the American financial system. But anyways, this is my driver, and I literally have always been so fascinated by the Titanic. Like, if there was an extracurricular project, even in like 4th grade, I did it on the Titanic. Like, I had 3 of them, and then my teacher was finally like, can you just do something else maybe? And I was like, okay, bet. Have you ever heard of Bigfoot? So yeah, I've been curious about it for a long time, and just never ends.
Those are so shocking parallels, man. I'm definitely gonna have to check out that book. I didn't even know a book like that was even out, man. Bro, what she was saying, man, and what that book was saying, it was lining up too perfectly, bro. Titanic. Tell me if I'm lying, bro. Tell me down below, man.
First time in human history that a corporation has been able to patent a seed and then sue farmers for saving it. Monsanto, now owned by Bayer, created genetically modified seeds and made it illegal for farmers to do what they have always done, save seeds for the following season. They spent an estimated $10 million a year on so-called seed police to investigate farmers, and they sued over 400 small family farms for patent infringement. Here's where it gets interesting. A Canadian farmer named Percy Schmeiser was sued by Monsanto. The company claimed he illegally planted their patented canola seeds, that the seeds had blown onto his land from a neighboring farm. He did not plant them. He had no contract with Monsanto. The case went to the Canadian Supreme Court. Don't get me wrong, intellectual property has a place, but when a seed blows across a fence and becomes a lawsuit, you have gone from protecting innovation to controlling the fundamental act of farming.
They are simply telling us to our face. If you don't hear it, it's because you choose not to. Listen to this.
There's a cognizance, I believe, within the intelligence community, particularly CIA, that there are humans among us that might be more extraterrestrial than human. And how do you identify them? That could be a major factor in why we're interested in that. And there's also the, I guess you would call contact tracing of like who's who. Right. And so what they did reveal that there was an interest in certain families. How would you understand families? I understand families to mean bloodlines. Right. That they were interested in certain bloodlines going back to ancient times. Who knows? Ancient times. Did they mention other heritages around the planet that through this marker? I was specifically told that the Cherokee heritage, the Cherokee Nation, had something to do with the phenomenon. And furthermore, that it has something to do with perhaps even the actual existence of Atlantis. That they may have been survivors of Atlantis.
Looks like we have our reason on what he was actually searching for. Cherokee, huh? I mean, this would explain a lot. They've been searching. This is not new. Just new to us. Atlanteans? That's why they was looking for America, huh? That's why the old structures can't be recreated. Temporary mind. Just kidding, y'all. This video is only for entertainment purposes. But make sure to like and comment and let me know your thoughts.
Oh, my Cherokee Seekers, man. Stand up, bro. We all going to Atlantis, man, this summer, bro. That's crazy. He was talking about the bloodlines on things. I thought he was talking about, you know, how we found out they was using 23andMe to see if anybody's bloodline has alien ancestry. So I thought they was connecting those two dots together, but he's saying the Cherokee people are coming from Atlantis. Interesting.
Y'all tell me why I'm in Five Below and my daughter's like, ooh, look. And I'm like, girl, we are not getting that. No way. Look how they tried to dress it up and make it all pretty. Nuh-uh. And a Ouija board is still in a Ouija board. I can't believe they didn't set this out here, y'all. They are promoting this to the kids. Just casually have it sitting outside of the kids' out. That's crazy.
Are you ready for the zombie apocalypse? Well, the United States government is.
The plan to deal with the zombie apocalypse. Foreign Policy reports the unclassified document explains how to respond to many kinds of walking dead, including chicken zombies. The Pentagon says the plan is an in-house training tool to teach students how to deal with widespread national emergency.
Chicken zombie? Even I can beat up a chicken zombie. Shabadoo!
What was captured flying by after the Edwards Air Force Base B-52 crash? Watch this thing disappear at the end.
Okay. It's moving.
We all seen the crash and what happened, but what is this that comes behind it? What is this red, metallic-looking object spinning, traveling at high rates of speed right around the same area of the accident? Who knows what this is? Leave it in the comments.
Orb.
The WWE wrestler, Danhausen, who uncursed the Knicks. And apparently after he uncursed the Knicks, you guys won every single game. Jalen, I know that you are a WWE fan. Did this have something to do with it as well?
At first, I was a little skeptical, but I mean, you have to believe it now.
Okay, yeah, now you gotta believe it.
You have to believe it now.
It did work.
This should be all the proof that you need on how rigged all of this stuff is, on how scripted all of this stuff is, because, again, why are they continuing to promote a WWE wrestler when it comes to professional sports? Why are they continuing to mention how Danhausen uncursed the Knicks and that's how they won their championship? I mean, come on. They are laughing at each and every one of you at this point with all of the things they continue to do, because the NBA is showing you that they are no different than the WWE. This is why they are promoting a WWE wrestler like this and talking about how Jalen Brunson is a big WWE fan. I mean, he's even been on WWE television before. All of this stuff is scripted.
I remember seeing that post that wrestler made. I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. But I didn't even clock that they won every single game after that, bro. So that's even weirder, man. Did they legit win every single game after he uncursed him, bro? What type of curse was on the Knicks then, man? Was that part of the script, bro? He uncursing them, man, and they won? That's some UFO activity.
Claims that elites, they're obsessed with trying to master the secrets of the universe, or pretty much uncover what everything means. Yeah. When you're that rich and you're a billionaire, I think that's the only thing left. Yeah, honestly. So they're trying to map out and understand the occult, the spiritual realm, extraterrestrials, everything about the universe. Yeah. Trying to figure out what more to life there is, right? My theory is immortality. They're trying to find immortality. They're trying to find immortality, but also I think they discovered that because they've done so evil that they're doomed to hell. Oh wow. So they might as well just try to go out to take everybody else with them. Yeah. Because that's what the devil would do, right? Oh my. If you think if you were in that position, done like vile, evil, Epstein level, because if they're doomed to hell, what's their other options? They're forever out here, I guess.
So CERN is set to close down on June 29th, 2026. Okay.
Again.
It'll be shut down for 4 years until June of 2030. So that's fun. You know, especially given that they're building a new one, which is like 10 times the size of the current one, something like that.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Where?
I'll show you. We'll pull it up in a second. So the last time it shut down was between 2018 and 2022.
That was a fun time for us all, wasn't it?
Listen, I didn't think that there was any like unrest around the world at all, right? There's zero doubt that between now and 2030, the entire world will be radically changed. That's for absolute sure.
I have goosebumps.
And this is all happening as AI emerges as this thing that is going to literally completely change the whole world. You got to ask yourself, doesn't it feel like that all kind of came out of nowhere? You know what I mean? You're like, I mean, I know they've been talking about AI, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It
Just like popped up one day and it's like, oh, ChatGPT's here.
And
here you go.
The
most evil men in the music industry, considered the Jeffrey of the music industry, Clive Davis, who was also Diddy's mentor, has passed away at 94. He dominated the music industry. For instance, he found Whitney Houston, which is real interesting considered what happened with her unaliving, allegedly. Go look up her last interview with him, it's telling. But the big one, he found Sean Combs, dear old Diddy, and he mentored him, and he taught him everything about the music business and how to control everything, allegedly. And that's not all. He was the CEO and founder of Bad Boy Records, and guess who else founded it with him? Good old Clive. Clive gave him all the tools, and allegedly, Diddy, part of why he did what he did was to get intel, all these parties and things, so he could have tapes over everybody. And guess who his boss was, allegedly, that he gave all this information to, which allegedly kept these two creeps in power for way too long at the top of the field and held secrets on everybody, all while they're doing stuff in the background.
This man is about to jump from space. If anything goes wrong, nobody can save him. Felix Baumgartner is standing more than 24 miles above Earth, inside a small capsule, hanging from a giant balloon. At this altitude, the air is so thin that one mistake could be fatal. But in a few seconds, he is going to open the door and step into the void. Millions of people are watching live as he jumps. Within seconds, his body starts falling faster and faster until he reaches more than 800 miles per hour, becoming the first human to break the sound barrier in free fall. But suddenly something goes wrong. Felix begins spinning out of control at terrifying speed. The faster he rotates, the higher the risk of losing consciousness. For several seconds, nobody knows if he will be able to stabilize himself. The team on the ground can do nothing. If he fails to regain control, the mission could turn into a disaster in front of the entire world. Then somehow, Felix manages to stop the spin, stabilize his body, and open his parachute. In 2012, his jump became one of the most insane records ever achieved. But for a few seconds, the world thought they were watching a man fall from space to his death.
I don't know if anybody broke that record currently, man, but he's a brave soul, man. Attempting that from space, bro. I don't care how much money you pay me, man. That's a no for me. I would never do that.
Scientists have just found that the San Andreas fault line is under the most pressure that it's ever been in, and it is now lined up with a second fault line right next to LA that could rip open at the exact same time. So they actually built a model of the last 1,000 years of earthquakes on this fault line, and the stress on it right now is about a quarter higher than the worst it's ever been. Okay. They're also saying that there's one spot right near LA where the San Andreas and a second fault line called the San Jacinto basically meet, and scientists are calling it an earthquake gate. So that's cool. They're saying that whenever both fault lines are stressed to the same level, that gate can open and let a rupture jump from one fault line straight onto the other.
New this morning, researchers in Hawaii say 2 of California's fault lines have hit or gone beyond their highest stress levels in the past 1,000 years.
So obviously we see the problem. But happening right now, they're saying that both fault lines are loaded to almost the exact same point, so they could rip together or even all at once across 3 different branches. The last big one that happened in 1857 tore over 200 miles, but it stopped right at that gate. This time, if it were to happen again, the area it would hit is packed with millions of people. The one thing that scientists cannot tell us right now is when, because earthquakes can still not be predicted.
Bro, did y'all see that San Andreas movie that came out with Dwayne Johnson? That came out like 2012, I think, man. So if that happens, bro, did the movie predict it, bro? Once again, they putting it in front of our faces in the media, man. People not paying attention.
First of all, for my benefit and your benefit, I just want to rebuke that. For those who are not familiar with what backmasking is, it's similar to the imagery we see, the things that they put in films subliminally that sit there and your subconscious mind picks up on it. You don't see it, but your mind picks it up. This is the same. You don't hear it, but your mind picks it up. Now, some people will say it's a coincidence and it's not purposely or intentionally done by the artist. But just look at the images they've used in the video. Very strange, very creepy. Make of it as you want. I'm only here to just point it out.
That was creepy. World Cup.
All of these people are in a secret society and the membership just leaked. And look who's in here. Cory Booker, Jared Kushner, Ted Cruz, Elon Musk, and many, many more. Hackers obtained the secret membership list of Peter Thiel's club, Dialogue. And while this doesn't touch the old school rivals, Bilderberg Group, and of course Bohemian Grove, we are talking about 200 plus of the world's most influential new school luminaries. The technoligarchs and the broligarchs, and they have secret invite-only retreats where they do organized talks with names like Money Does Buy Happiness, Surviving World War III, and of course, but this guy right here, Representative Jim Himes, is the ranking member on the House Intelligence Committee, which oversees the agencies that Palantir has contracts with. He's also in Peter Thiel's private club, along with John Lonsdale, the co-founder of Palantir. Palantir's software runs case management for Trump's federal police force. Right now, one of Trump's federal government spying programs is up for renewal, and Jim Himes is the key guy in that discussion. At one point, he even tried to get everyone to vote for a version of this program that did not include warrants to search and arrest Americans. You see Democrats and Republicans alike selling you out. This type of thing makes way more sense when we say it's a big club and your these blessings.
You heard about this Lily Torrance case?
No, what is that?
Oh my God, you haven't heard about this?
No.
Okay, so there's this weird account on TikTok called I'm Sorry Lily Torrance.
What?
And it's posting these terrifying videos.
I'm not scared of feeling ugly. I am scared of being lonely. But when I'm alone, I make things to fill that hole, and then I feel smarter and I feel better.
There's one of this girl talking and it says, why do all people that go missing look the same?
Instructions just say to look into the camera and hold it for 30 seconds. So I'm starting that now.
I don't understand what is going on. Nobody knows. Some people think that it's like a marketing ploy for a new movie that's about to come out. Some people think that it's like an actual missing person. They posted a video that shows like a missing poster from someone named Lily Torrance that went missing in 2008. Some people think it's a real missing person and someone is trying to like give hints about who they vanished. Nobody really knows what it is, but it is absolutely taking over TikTok right now.
See nothing wrong with Lily Gallus posting that Candace Owens passed away. We already know that Candace Owens rubbed a lot of big names the wrong way. And just randomly, Lily Gallus had something like this posted on her ex. Mind you, she's hinting at the fact that her ex account might have been hacked. But I want you to read what this says right here. I'm gonna move out your way. Candace Owens' family reached out to me earlier this morning. It is with deep sadness and sorrow that I am sharing the passing of my longtime friend and fellow political commentator, Candace. I need you to tell me how this sounds to you. I need you to go back to right before that person passed. The person that she named. And that person said the same exact thing as Candace. Now I'm gonna ask you again. Even if the account was hacked, why would somebody post something like this about Candace Owens? What I will say is this. We know that from the moment that Candace has been covering that case, a lot of people are afraid. And when people get afraid, you know what happens, right? Hopefully none of this plays out the way Lily Gallus says. I'm out.
And nobody really
Scary.
wants a data center in their backyard. I don't want a data center in my backyard. So you do get a lot of pushback, and you need buy-in from the community because you have to get permits to do that work. And you have government officials that they are elected by the community. They certainly want to make their constituents happy. And so you in turn have to make their constituents happy so that you can still get your permit and you can still operate there. Data centers, once they are operational, don't bring a lot of jobs. They do on the construction side, but you're not really getting a ton of that community benefit from having a data center really, truly in your backyard.
I didn't even finish this creator's video because I had to stop. Apparently, that phenomena that you see, have you guys ever, oh my God, remote viewing is the same thing as when that happens that you see with your eyes closed. Does that not happen to anyone else when you're sleeping at night and you wake up, but you're not awake? And you're looking through the room, and then you do wake up and you open your eyes and you're like, how was I just looking at everything? Okay, my mind is blown. That's all.
Oliver,
has that happened to you guys, Seekers, man? You guys woke up, you couldn't move, and you felt like somebody was seeing through you? Had to like cover your eyes or something like that? That's it. That never happened to me, man. So it's my first time hearing that type of phenomenon.
Tree is Rob Deerdick. What if I told you this? Are you ready for this rabbit hole? Because when you actually begin to look at both of these individuals, they do look eerily similar to one another. But maybe all of this is just one big coincidence. Or maybe there is something more going on here than meets the eye. But you have to admit, when you actually begin to examine both of these quote unquote individuals, different people, they look more and more alike. It is truly very bizarre. You have to admit this. And again, they even have a connection via gematria, because both of their names in the reverse cipher in gematria add up to 141. So you tell me what is going on here. But from my vantage point and from my viewpoint, it really looks as if these people are one and they are the same. But maybe this is all just one big coincidence.
If y'all ain't noticed, they harvesting energy right now. They got the NBA Finals. They got the FIFA Cup. They had Child Case last week. Now they got Carmelo Case. Listen, it's all about energy, and they harvesting a lot of it right now. Yeah, make it make sense. I'm telling you, that's what's going on. When you get on social media, everybody is against each other. Where y'all think that energy going? Where do you think that energy going, man? I'm telling you, it's summertime. So they got to harvest all the energy before they go back and hibernate. See, y'all ain't getting it. They throwing everything at us. Like FIFA Cup, the NBA Finals, everything is all at once. Y'all, they are energy harvesting, man. I'm telling you. To the people who've noticed, hats off to you. But that's what's going on. Yeah, y'all, everybody's emotions is going crazy. Everybody's egos is running rampant. They harvesting all of that energy. Get in the comments and let me know what you think, y'all. That's what's going on.
Yeah, I heard energy harvesting, bro. I mean, he was right. The NBA Finals, they had the FIFA World Cup, man, on all those symbolism. And like I have noticed, man, you post, bro, everybody freaking social media, man, is freaking like miserable, bro. All they want to do is freaking just post rage bait, or just post their life just to make it seem like they're living their best life. When guys don't know, man, the social media stuff is, well, some people do know, man. Especially I know the Seekers, man. This one big facade, bro. It's all edited, bro. You can post whatever you want on the internet to make it seem like you're living the best life, but behind the scenes, you're just going through the same thing like everybody else is, man. So that I definitely believe, man, that they are energy harvesting, bro, out here. She's noticing a pattern.
All these celebrities had been hiding the real reason behind their change in appearance, and everything we thought about this is actually wrong. It's becoming more and more shocking, and you've noticed it too. They're all getting extremely thin. I'm not talking naturally or progressively. It's like overnight they became unrecognizable. The worst part is it's not one or two people, it's a pattern that keeps repeating over and over. Look at Ariana Grande and compare how she looked a few years ago to now. Alexa Demi, same thing. One day she had one face, the next day it was a completely different one. Not to mention Cynthia Erivo Devo, Demi Moore, Nicole Kidman, and even more recently Dixie D'Amelio. They all went through the same kind of transformation. Extreme weight loss, facial features that change, a different look in their eyes, and every single time it happens at the same point in their career, when they reach a new level. That's where it gets strange. In this industry, everyone knows that the higher you go, the more is asked of you, not just in their music or their acting, but especially physically. As if to access a certain circle, you had to go through a transformation. The most disturbing part is that nobody around them says anything. Their teams, their close ones, everyone acts like it's normal, like losing half your body weight in a few weeks is just a lifestyle choice. So either all these women decided to change at the same time by pure coincidence, or there's something they're being asked to do to stay where they are. Are they still the ones deciding, or is someone else deciding for them?
Yup, human hair is not only being found rapidly growing out of reborn dolls, but these dolls are forming heartbeats inside their chests, and they might be starting to wake up now. People were terrified after viral videos showed inanimate dolls starting to grow human hair that did not match anyone the owners knew, with the doll being completely bald when they first bought it, and people are now saying whatever is inside these dolls is trying to come out. Haunting reports show a reborn doll was forcibly removed and taken to the same museum that locked the Annabelle doll away, a doll that was not classified as haunted but as demonic, with people claiming the reborn doll's hair is growing faster than it should and it has not stopped since it has arrived. But it gets darker as some are reporting the reborn dolls started breathing in the middle of the night, with many warning that they might not only be alive, but what is breathing inside was never human.
No, that baby hair was not like that. That baby hair was smooth, clean, bald, and all of a sudden it had little like black specks, like little black ants.
While many believe they were possessed, experts say it's fiber displacement, hair that was already inside slowly pushing through.
I'm not believing that for a second, bro. Get rid of those doll seekers. Please, man. We got freaking dolls going hair out here, man. Those dolls are possessed, bro. I'm calling it right now.
Was one of the best brokers on Wall Street, and it all started as a joke. Raven was a Hollywood chimp before accidentally becoming a Wall Street bro with a 213% annual return on her portfolio. In 1999, a financial website had her throw 10 darts at a board of public companies and bought whatever stock she hit. They thought it would be funny, but the joke got way too serious way too fast. Within 6 days, one of her picks was up 95%. By the end of the year, Raven had quadrupled the Dow Jones, outperformed 6,000 professionals, and became the 22nd top money manager in the US. Her picks were so profitable, they created the Monkeydex Index, so investors could copy her exact moves. Then the dot-com bubble burst, and the Monkeydex crashed with it.
Ah, look at this, man. This is exactly the type of stuff that they didn't want y'all to see. Why y'all think it's coming out now? Y'all, we used to create comic books out of stones, and even with the stone binders. During the Aztec and the Mayans, the Atlanteans, look at this.
Wow, so this is a stone book with stone binders. Absolutely incredible.
Look at the eye, Egyptian eye.
Look at these stone pages. This is something out of... Wow, look at the light language on this. Oh, wow. Flying ship here, flying ship, flying ship. Wow, this is incredible. This tells the story of that page. Oh, wow, look at this. This is like a comic book. It is. It's like an ancient comic book. Wow, look at that.
Look at this.
Nice.
Bro, we've been creating cosmic comic books. Why do these people have our stuff, man? Just give us our stuff back. Y'all, they really try to say our people was primitive, but how primitive do you really have to be to create a comic book out of stone? Man, we literally have been dumbed down on purpose, man. Once you have been colonized, the first thing that they do is disconnect you from your memory so you never realize what your ancestor or you did, because this is us. They made us forget what our people knew, what we built, and how advanced we really were. And what do? They replace it with jobs, debt, school, and basically a colonized vision, and we forget who we are and where we actually come from. But everything is lining up and everything is coming right back to us, y'all. I know y'all feel that. The memory's coming back, y'all. Let me know down in the comments that shit we see. Let's continue.
A 20-year-old gang member was dying of primary liver cancer. In his last days, hours, and moments, he was angry. The family called the hospice nurse into the room and told her that they thought he was going. He wasn't responding, his eyes were glossy, his skin was cold, the end was imminent. His lovely mother whispered to him to go towards the light, to her Jesus. He opened his eyes, looked at her, and said, "F your Jesus." A second or two later, he slowly turned his head to the left and got the most horrific look on his face, as if he was looking at something something that they couldn't see, and horrified, his face contorted, and he screamed with his last breath, eyes wide, "Oh sh*! Oh sh*! Oh no!" Then he made a guttural noise and promptly fell back into the bed and died. Every family member was shaking and too frightened to speak. The hospice nurse left the room and took 2 days off. She said she doesn't care if she never finds out what he saw.
Creepy things you never
What
knew.
did he see?
Males in Russia sometimes become so hungry in the summer that they become desperate for food and go to cemeteries to feast on the recently buried corpses. In 1977, we received a radio signal from space. It lasted around 42 seconds. To this day, we don't know where that signal came from. If you're ever unsure with meeting up with someone and you want to stay safe, use publicdatacheck.com. It allows you to do background checks on anyone, and even has an unknown phone number lookup for those phone numbers that call you that aren't in your contacts. This has saved a lot of people from weird and strange situations. So check out publicdatacheck.com. If your immune system found out you had eyes, it would attack them until you go blind. In 2002, actor Anthony Starr received a 12-month prison sentence because he had a bar fight in Spain. Witnesses say he drunkenly punched and smashed a bottle on a chef's head, saying to him, "You committed the mistake of your life. I'm going to look for you. I want to you." He managed to avoid jail time by paying the victim $4,000. Now, if you made it to the end of this video, let me tell you a secret. Typing "scream" all lowercase with the bars around it like this will give you a secret emoji down below. Let's see who can actually do it.
Oh man, the Homeland actor, man. He took that a little bit too seriously. What's that acting called when they, try to stay in character? I forgot, man, but he took this Homelander, take it to the next level. That's kind of insane. I never heard about that story before. Damn. You guys think, man, Homelander in real life going rogue?
Did you know that people have seen mermaids in Indiana?
Ooh.
Well, not the cute Disney mermaids that we're thinking about. No, these mermaids are referred to as mud mermaids. These sightings have been going on since the late 1800s. People in Indiana along the Ohio River have reported to see them on the banks of the river for years. And what they've reported sounds almost a little bit disturbing. These aren't your fairy tale mermaids. People say that they have green skin, hands like humans, but with long talons and webbed fingers, and razor-sharp teeth. They also say that they walk on the banks like dogs because instead of legs, like normal mermaid myths, they have tails. And they have absolutely no hair at all. Now, whatever these weird things may be, people say they're not known to attack. When they're sighted, usually they're eating other fish or frogs. But still, razor-sharp claws and teeth, that doesn't sound very inviting to me. So maybe these are freshwater mermaids, or maybe there's something else entirely. I don't know about you, but I'm gonna stay away from the banks of the Ohio River, because I do not want to run into one and find out if it really is friendly.
This is one of the worst ways
Insane.
somebody has ever died. In October 2012, an awful and disturbing thing happened. A 62-year-old employee at Bumblebee Foods named Jose Molina was having a normal day in the Bumblebee facility in California. In his schedule, Jose was tasked with the performance maintenance on an 11-meter-long industrial oven, so he went inside one of the tanks to begin his work. Believing that Jose was in the bathroom, one of his coworkers actually shut the tank's door, trapping Jose inside, and then filled the oven with 5,400 kilograms of tuna and then turned the oven on. A search then ensued when the manager realized Jose was missing, but by then it was way too late. They found Jose's body 2 hours later inside the oven, completely burnt and melted away, 100% unrecognizable. The temperature inside the oven reached 270 degrees Fahrenheit, and Jose was unfortunately cooked alive inside of the tank with all the fish. And you could only imagine how horrific this death actually was. Could you imagine being cooked alive and then being crushed by tens of thousands of pounds of fish, mixed with the smell, the texture, the heat? This death was just awful. The company Bumblebee and 2 managers were actually charged for this death, and the company got off with a $6 million settlement. But do you think $6 million is way too low for a death like this? Many people believe it should have been more close to $50 million. Nonetheless, this is by far one of the worst and most uncomfortable deaths of all time, and I can't imagine Jose's thoughts as he was being cooked alive with hundreds of fish.
We need
need to talk about Johnny Depp's portrayal of the Mad Hatter, because it is full of dark history Easter eggs that you may have missed. If you know of the character the Mad Hatter, then you may also know about the dark history of hatters. For 250 years, people that made hats were using a poisonous mercury-based solution that caused their bodies to fall apart and for them to slowly lose their minds, which I just did a whole episode on that and other deadly beauty and fashion trends that you should check out. When Johnny Depp got the role of the Hatter, he became obsessed with the dark history of hat making, and he wanted to include parts of that history in the character. And the biggest homage he pays to that history is with the orange hair. The mercury solution that hatters used to use was called carroting solution because it was so bright orange. They would sit in these poorly ventilated rooms all day just inhaling the poisonous mercury, getting sicker and sicker. And Johnny Depp wanted to honor that. He wanted the skin to be pale and sickly. He wanted his teeth to look like they were decaying because that's what would happen to these people. And finally, and this is my favorite detail, he put a lot of details into the costume to make it look like he was a hat maker. Up here in his hat, there's tools to make hats. He has a ring that's a push pin, and on the other side he has this belt of thread so he could be sewing hats all day. Anyways, I have so much more on the dark history of hatting in this week's episode, and you're definitely going to want to check it out.
Morbid facts about Michael Jackson, Part 3. In 2002, Michael was staying at a hotel in Berlin when he dangled his 9-month-old son blanket over his 4th floor balcony. Jackson claimed he was simply excited and wanted to show off his baby to the fans below, but the media was quick to criticize Michael's parenting skills and life-threatening behavior. Jackson later apologized, stating that it was a mistaken judgment and that he didn't mean to endanger his son. Blanket is now 21 years old and rarely makes public appearances. During the shooting of a Pepsi commercial in 1983, Michael's hair caught on fire when the pyrotechnics went off too early. He suffered second-degree burns to his scalp and permanently lost a chunk of his hair. Many say that this moment was a major turning point in Michael's life, claiming that the painkillers he took after the accident started his downward spiral into a life of pain and drug addiction. But despite all of this, instead of suing Pepsi, Michael asked the company to fund the creation of a burn center.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. If your plane is crashing into the water, just know that flight attendants are trained to not allow any dead bodies on life rafts. That means no saving grandma for her funeral, simply yeet that bitch overboard. 1 out of every 50 women have a third nipple, and 1 out of every 100 men do too. This is known as a supernumerary nipple, and Mark Wahlberg actually has one. Harry Styles has 2. Your baby foreskin can be used as replacement skin for burn victims. That means one can quite literally be a dick face. There are corn stars born in the year 2003. That's the same year The Cat in the Hat came out. Male fetuses get boners in the womb, and these can often be seen on ultrasounds. Motherfucker.
Here are some things that are completely normal during the day, but really creepy at night. Digging holes in your backyard. I mean, it's your backyard, and you're entitled to do whatever you want to it, but if I see you digging some holes in the middle of the night, I'm gonna be really concerned. Bonus creepy points if you have some trash bags next to you, too. I feel bad for people who work graveyard shifts or are night owls, because it makes it difficult to do any gardening or landscaping without looking pretty creepy. They say a child's laughter is one of the most beautiful sounds in the world, but not if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Scary movies have absolutely ruined the sound of a child laughing for me, because most instances, I'm gonna assume the worst. And for some reason, little girls laughing are even more scary. Like, imagine being in the woods camping and you hear some little girl laughing in the distance. My brain isn't gonna think, oh cool, some family must be camping near us. No, I'm gonna think that I'm gonna get murdered or possessed by some demon. Someone knocking on your door during the day, it's annoying. Who the fuck is showing up at my house unannounced? It must be a salesman or, worse, Mormons. That same knock at 3 in the morning? No, I'm getting murdered for sure. I'm on the 2nd floor, and my only way out is to jump out the window, so I'm done for.
Hey, what the hell? Took it too far.
Probably keep you up at night. Number 1, your ears never stop growing. They get bigger and bigger the more you age. Number 2, during a person's lifetime, on average, a person spends 1 whole year sitting on the toilet. Number 3, in 1977, we received an audio signal from space that was 42 seconds long. To this day, we don't know where this audio signal came from. Number 4, raining animals. Throughout history, there have been documented instances of animal rain, a phenomenon where frogs, fish, and even spiders are swept up in waterspouts and then fall from the sky with raindrops. Number 5, the zone of silence is an area in Mexico where radio signals and any type of communication cannot be received or sent.
Number 6. The Boiling River. In the heart of the Peruvian Amazon lies a river so hot that it boils. The Shanay Tempishka River. It reaches temperatures up to 93 degrees Celsius or 200 degrees Fahrenheit.
Damn.
Number 7. The sleeping city of Kalachi. Residents of Kalachi, Kazakhstan, have been plagued by a mysterious condition that causes people to fall asleep for several days, often waking up with no memory of the episode. Investigations suggest that elevated levels of carbon monoxide and hydrocarbons due to uranium mines might be the cause, though no definite explanation has been established. Number 8. The Voynich Manuscript. This mysterious book dates back to the 15th century. It is filled with writings of an unknown language or code and detailed illustrations of non-existent plants, astronomical diagrams, and strange human-like figures in bizarre contexts. Despite efforts of cryptographers and scholars, no one was able to solve these codes. We don't know what the book says. We don't know who wrote it.
These are the 5 scariest space facts. You've been warned. If a massive asteroid was headed for the Earth, the chances are there isn't really much we could do. At any moment, the Sun could emit a coronal mass ejection aimed at the Earth, and if we weren't prepared for it, it could destroy the entire world's energy grid and leave us without power for years. There are black holes lurking in the shadows, roaming throughout our galaxy, and if one entered our solar system, it would be all over. When a star runs out of fuel, it can emit a gamma ray burst, and if a star within 3,000 light years of Earth happened to emit a gamma ray burst, and it was aimed at us, the ozone layer would be destroyed. Finally, every year there is more space junk created, putting us at risk of being trapped within the Earth.
How are we polluting space now too?
If you haven't heard about the extremely disturbing case known as the Girl Scout murders, then you may want to stick around. Viewer discretion is advised. In June of 1977, more than 100 girls headed off to Camp Scott in Locust Grove, Oklahoma, hoping for a summer filled with fun and newfound friendships. But little did these girls know that their dream would become short-lived extremely fast after a tragic event took place on the campgrounds. It was about 2 months before the incident occurred when a young camp counselor found a note in her belongings claiming that there was going to be 3 girls in one tent murdered this year while all the girls were attending camp. Knowing that the campers and other counselors like to play pranks on one another, she just dismissed the note and left it there as a joke. But little did she know that she would come to regret this very quickly when the tragic events began to unfold on the campgrounds. On the night of June 12, 1977, a storm blew through Oklahoma, leaving the girls to take cover and hide away in their sleeping bags to be protected from the bad weather. It wouldn't be until the next morning that a camp counselor would come and check on the girls after the storm and realize that 3 of them were stuffed deep down in their sleeping bags with bloody sheets and signs of strangulation. The girls whose dead bodies were found in those sleeping bags were 8-year-old Lori Farmer, 9-year-old Michelle Goose, and 10-year-old Denise Milner. After the death of these 3 innocent girls, police and other law enforcement agencies rushed to the scene so that they could start their investigation and get to the bottom of who could have possibly targeted these 3 innocent girls. Discovered near the campgrounds was a cave that police would decide to go into, where they would find masking tape and 2 wedding photos, which seemed to be a very strange combination. After the photos were released to the public, an old prison employee actually called in, claiming that he has seen those photos before and he's almost certain he knows who committed these horrific acts on these young women. And he believed that the person behind these sick and twisted murders was a man by the name of Gene Leroy Hart, who was an escaped convict and convicted rapist back during the time of the Girl Scout murders. The crazy thing is, Hart was actually acquitted due to the lack of evidence on the police end, and he claimed that he was actually framed and that he did not commit the murders, even though there was trace evidence of his DNA found at the crime scene. And it's still unknown if Hart actually committed these murders or if he was actually just framed. And now, here in 2023, after the not guilty verdict years and years ago, there is new evidence that has arisen that Jean Leroy Hart was actually very closely linked with these murders.
Got away with that all that damn time. Creepy case seekers.
Creepy last words people said right before dying. Registered nurse Shirley Smith said that she had a very rich patient who was a true Satanist that was dying of cancer. The patient had upside-down crosses and a Satan's Bible by her bedside. Shirley said that she will never forget what happened. It was the middle of the summer, and yet it was so cold and dark in her room that you couldn't even stand it, even in the middle of the day. She said that it got so evil feeling in there that she had to call a priest to pray with her and her aides before they would even enter the room. When the patient passed away, she had not spoken in over 24 hours. And then all of a sudden, she sat straight up and said, "Satan, take me." And then she fell back on the bed. Shirley said that after she passed, the room got bright and extremely warm. Shockingly, when they moved the patient's body, they had to get rid of the mattress because where her body had been, it looked burnt. And the most horrible smell was emanating from the mattress cover. Needless to say, Shirley went to confession immediately because she did not want an evil spirit around her. A nurse said that one of their patients had a serious recurrence and had to be admitted. Over the course of several nights, he had become quite upset during rounds. He kept asking for his wallet, saying that he had to pay the ferryman. The medical student on rotation in the department took a quarter out of his pocket and put it in the patient's hand. The patient then dropped the coin into the cup on his bedstand and calmed down. Later that night, he passed away quietly. The nurse asked what happened. The medical student, who remembered his Greek mythology, said that the patient had to pay Charon, the ferryman, to be taken across the river Styx. A nurse said that he was doing rounds at a hospital. There was one two-patient room, and one of the patients was a very loud and confused woman who could be quite a handful. On this particular night, she had a roommate who had passed away shortly before the nurse entered the room. She was DNR, so there was no code blue. When he entered the room, he noticed that the elderly lady, who was usually very loud and confused, was sitting quietly with her hands crossed neatly upon her lap. Something was different, and there was this look of serenity on her face. She asked him in a voice that seemed much younger and clearer than before, "Did you see them, young man? They're so beautiful." He said, "No, ma'am, there's no one else here." She said, "They're right next to you, talking to Mrs. Banneker. The angels. They're so beautiful." He said that he instantly felt every hair of his body stand up, and an electric tingle course up and down his spine. "They're not here for me this time," she said sadly.
Want to learn something new today? There was a cargo ship called Felicity Ace in 2022 that sank in the Atlantic Ocean with nearly 4,000 luxury cars, from Porsches to Lamborghinis.
Damn.
That sucks. Elvis Presley's manager sold I Hate Elvis badges as a way to make money from people who weren't buying Elvis Presley's merchandise. It's honestly a pretty genius move. I mean, Elvis wasn't doing anything wrong to be disliked, right? I don't know. And to make money off of people who hate him too is like, it's kind of petty. I like that. Every red box in this picture is showing people taking a photo or video of LeBron James shooting this shot. The green box, any green box in this picture is a person that is not capturing the moment and just living it. And what do you know? That person is Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. Apparently cinematographers, when they're at a concert and it's like raining really bad, have these really fast spinning glass lenses that allow rain to not land on it because it's moving so fast, and apparently it's used on ships for them to see out into like the fog and stuff too. Humans are very creative.
They actually make glitter out of people? This is insane.
Oh, people have been looking into glitter to see what it's made out of, and it appears it may be made out of humans? Yeah, there's been some investigating done, and they're finding out that glitter, they say that it's made of microplastics, but when they put it under a microscope, crematories.
Oh.
Fun!
dark world,
looking identical to that of what glitter looks like.
When was the last time you saw Selena Gomez? Why do I ask? Because she appeared on an interview and was unrecognizable, leaving her fans both confused and concerned. If you haven't seen the interview, take a look at this.
Selena, which one of your songs gets you moving and grooving when you're on your own? That is not something I do often.
Does that look and sound like Selena Gomez? When the video starts and the questions begin, it seems like it's AI. She's just frozen in time, just staring into nowhere. Take a quick look at it again.
Selena, which one of your songs gets you moving and grooving?
Once the interview aired, fans immediately took to social media questioning what's going on with Selena Gomez. Fans were very quick to point out her transformation from 2024 to 2025 to what we just saw in that video. So the question needs to be asked, who is that in the interview? This is Selena Gomez not too long ago, and this is Selena Gomez in the interview. So what is going on with Selena Gomez? The question needs to be asked, has Hollywood claimed another celebrity? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Boys, a new sport has just dropped and it is taking over TikTok right now. It's called Brave Ball, and as you can see, it's a wild combination of football and boxing. And the rules are simple. They're not at all. It seems like it's just normal football rules, but you're wearing gloves and a head guard, and whenever you get reaching distance to someone, you can smash the shit out of them. That's about all I've figured out. Now, it seems to have started in Poland by a martial arts club called Be Brave, but it's now spread to other countries in Eastern Europe, including Ukraine. And they're taking equality to the next level. Because as you can see, it looks like boys and girls are playing together. Now, it does seem that most of these videos are from actual martial arts clubs trying out new ways for their students to train. But the question is, would you play this or not?
Nah, bro, because imagine somebody get mad. You hit a goal, they knock you out, bro, from one punch. I feel like that's not gonna end well, man. That's just asking for trouble, bro. Could you imagine that?
He moved into a house, but when he moved into the house, he didn't realize that the old owner, his son, passed away. Okay. So that's why they wanted to move out. Now, he would get knocking at his door at night, and he would hear like kids laughing. He automatically assumed like, hey, something is going on here. It's just not right, and you get eerie vibes through the house. One day, he was walking through a hallway in the house, and he could hear a laugh. So he walked up to a bathroom from the hallway. He recorded it too. It's like clear as day, like a shape of a child. And he goes up to it. The closer he gets, he like falls back behind where he's hiding, and it just disappeared. Wait, straight up, right there. Oh my god! Yeah, you can see it like clear. You can see it like clear. Look. Wait. He hides back, and it's gone. Yeah. You can hear the laughing, and then the guy's crying for him because he's like so scared. Yeah. That has to be fake. And it's gone.
That has to be fake, bro.
I'd be scared too. I don't know, I'm out, moving out the next day. Plain and simple.
It's real convenient that nobody is speaking about what's going on in Alaska right now. No news coverage, nothing. So a typhoon hit Alaska with Category 4 hurricane wind. And if you know what a typhoon is, you know what a typhoon can do. This typhoon destroyed several native villages in Alaska. Jump down the rabbit hole, you'll see people's homes floating. You'll also see plots where homes used to be not there anymore. And again, you'll see that nobody's talking about this. The only people that's talking about this is on social media. Mind you, they're saying over 20 people are unaccounted for. They can't find them. Missing. Gone. But guess what? It might be way more than 20 people that's missing. It might be way more than 20 people that lost their lives. Now, you also got to remember that FEMA was defunded. No news coverage, and they're saying that help is supposedly on the way. But if nobody's reporting these stories, letting people know what's going on, how do we know that help is really going to get there? Let me say this to you again. Homes are being swept away. This typhoon or hurricane winds and flooding to Alaska and rural areas. Alaskans need help. We need to get this message out there.
I saw this video
Spread the
in
word.
Arizona, and they were like waiting for a fireworks show, and you saw this thing. It looked like a meteor coming down, and they're like, "Oh wow,
It's
is
like
that a
bright
meteor?"
orange, just leaving a stream.
And then all of a sudden, it breaks apart. These like 3 or 4 like light bulbs thing, or like lights in the sky, just stop.
Yeah.
And then they start going sideways. And the lady's like, "What the?" And then scrolled a little more. Someone caught something, and then they started going this way. And then I saw some in Texas, in Oregon.
People say it's like, oh, skydivers, and it's like, do you know how skydiving works?
Can you see this? All right, watch this.
How would that be a skydiver?
Yeah. Oh, that's.
Well, they said they were like skydivers with like flares. They'll like, how do they stop and then go sideways? They see it break apart.
Weird.
Breaks apart. Those stop up there.
Weird.
Those stop, and
I
then
don't
those
know.
4 stop.
They just hold it. Yeah, they turn up almost. It's like that's like it's weird.
I don't know.
The fact that there's several videos from several different angles,
Yeah.
several different places on the same night.
Yeah.
Oh, it's weird.
Weird.
And then this one. This will be the last UFO video I'll show you today.
Everything makes sense now
Weird.
like why Ice Spice was acting weird, y'all. Look at the picture. Look at who she's in the picture with. This lady has been behind some of the craziest pictures. And one of them being the jump with Travis Scott, where it looked like his soul was leaving his body. This lady is openly satanic. And I really believe Ice Spice is almost completing her ritual, fool. It started with Taylor Swift. Everybody already know when she was at the football games with Taylor Swift, and then the camera went on Taylor and her, and she did the little sign. Y'all know what sign I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up. I still believe Taylor is her handler, but she's completing it. This video, I don't know who this fashion dude is, but I guess he's somebody of significance because the way he gripped on Ice Spice, it looked like they dating. But maybe he just, I don't know. Y'all look at the video.
Okay.
Who is this dude? Look at this shit. Watch how he playing his hand on her belly. He gripping the waist. Look at this shit, y'all. Watch his hand placement. I need y'all to look at his face, look at her face. Look. Hand, look. What the fuck? Is that a face of regret? I might be tripping, but that's why I got y'all for. Let me know in the comments. Do y'all think I'm tripping? Or am I on to something? What do y'all notice?
Have you ever noticed how
What do you
so
think?
many celebrities pass away at age 27? This is actually a theory called the 27 Club. It's an unofficial club of famous people who passed away at 27 years old. The 27 Club's origin began with famous blues musician and songwriter Robert Johnson. Legend has it that Robert sold his soul to the devil at a crossroads in exchange for extraordinary music talent. Following this deal, he became an icon in the music industry, and his lyrics told stories of working with African magic. After his great success as a musician, Robert would be found dead outside of a plantation house in Mississippi. Before his death, it was rumored that Robert had been having an affair with a local tavern owner's wife. It's said that the tavern owner poisoned Robert's whiskey before bringing him to the plantation house, where Robert would roam around in a stupor for several days before collapsing and dying at the age of 27. Because of the urban legend surrounding Robert's talent and his rise to fame, and the coincidence of other famous musicians also dying at this age, the idea of the 27 Club was born. Other members of the club include people like Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, just to name a few. Kurt Cobain's death is what really perpetuated this idea of a 27 Club that we all know today. And sadly, before her death, Amy Winehouse would admit to her personal assistant that she was afraid she would end up joining the 27 Club, which she ultimately did.
Y'all seen the surgery that is changing people's
Wow.
eye colors to blue permanently? So in this surgery, this doctor is basically just painting people's eyeballs, and it's called a honey gold paint. And the way that it works is that it hides your old eye color and adds that layer of paint on top of your current eyeball. But this is where it gets even so much more worse. So there's this video right now of this guy going around where after his surgery is done, he asked the doctor, "Is this permanent?" You can see the regret and pain in this dude's eyes when he found out, yes, this is permanent. And it's not just this guy. The doctor has so many videos of all these different patients as soon as they get their eye surgery done, and they all look so surprised when they see their new eye. And I hate to break it to these people, not everybody is meant to have blue eyes. And even more insaner, the doctor doesn't just give out blue eyes, he also does emerald eyes, and these are what the emerald eyes look like. Yep, looks emerald to me, and I actually have to say, this one looks really natural. I think that this guy's look even more naturaler. This one is my most favorite. As of now, the doctor who makes these eye surgeries videos' response has been to ignore the haters. You had the opportunity, would you get this surgery done?
Nope, I ain't messing with that, bro. But what mistake you, man, you could go blind. I keep my natural eye color, bro. The way nature intended.
Tell me that all of you have seen the video now of the alien that was captured on the Ring camera in California. Now, if you haven't seen this video, it's the clearest video we've gotten so far of an extraterrestrial just wandering around on Earth. Now, this video has actually gotten so much traction that it's made it to mainstream news. Now, sometimes I don't believe the things mainstream news puts out there because, come on, it's mainstream news. They're meant to deceive you and point you in the direction that your government wants you to go in. But this video is quite amazing. Now, if you haven't seen it, I'm going to show it to you. But a Ring camera, a lady in California caught this on a Ring camera at 1 a.m. You can listen to the interaction back and forth with her and her child. I'm going to show you the video, but tell me what you think of this, because this is pretty cool.
I'm literally going crazy, like I'm losing my mind. And I took the phone from my son, so I was like, can you check this phone? I was like, am I seeing things, or is this? And I was like, Mom, it's an alien.
In that interview, she says that her son was like, it's an alien, call the cops.
A door,
Okay.
a massive door, carved in the side of a mountain, 6,500 feet above sea level. That door is at least hundreds, if not thousands of years old. And it's in the mountains of Pakistan. The door, carved into the side of a mountain, you can see right there. That's not natural. Somebody made that. And like I said, it's at least hundreds of years old. So what's it doing there on almost the top of a mountain? I don't know. Two explorers found the mysterious doorway and used a drone to take pictures of it from the sky so you could get more of a view of the size and shape and how big it is compared to a person. Now right away, what I was thinking, other people started thinking too. It reminds me and them of the doorway from Jabba's palace in Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. That's what it looks like. But I want to know what's behind this massive door, hundreds of years old, up in the mountains, and what's behind it. Let me know your thoughts on this, Booshkies, in the comment section. Shabadoo.
Yeah.
Have y'all ever seen weather like this in Arizona? In the desert, y'all? Cause first of all, what is this even called? They're trying to call this a microburst, y'all, but I've been living in Florida my whole life, and I know a hurricane when I see one. This is like a category 2 hurricane or something like that, y'all. Look at this right here is not normal, because even in the hurricanes in Florida, you can see through the rain and wind. I guess the energy in the desert just hits different, because winds were hitting about 100 miles an hour, y'all, and about 10,000 people lost power in their homes. And from the outside looking in, you would think this didn't do much damage, but a lot of people were forced out of their homes.
Dang.
So what the fuck just happened in Arizona? What the fuck?
Ooh, look at that truck. Oh my gosh, look at the buildings. They really took a beating out there in Tempe, Arizona. Look at the trees just falling on top of the cars, the buildings, the homes. And I'm sure there is a lot of cleanup to be done, y'all. Oh my goodness. I feel like we're in a movie.
Monday, this apartment complex near Southern and Mill getting hammered. Trees falling on several of the apartment buildings. Folks trapped inside until Tempe Fire and Medical could help them get out. See some folks climbing down ladders, others waiting on their pets who were trapped inside. Thankfully, Tempe Fire and Medical says there were no injuries here, but several dozen folks will be displaced. The American Red Cross now assisting them, trying to get a shelter open and finding them places to stay. They say there are about 50 units affected, and it could be as many.
Are you guys seeing this wind? Look at the structure to this wind. Y'all see that? Something is definitely shifting out there, you guys. And if you guys like the content, like, follow, share for more videos like this, y'all. I keep telling y'all, the shift is here. Y'all see it, y'all feel it. Let's continue to get it. Peace in.
The year 2020 was just a test run. The digital ID is the real thing.
Pretty soon, the whole world will need one of these. If you want a bank account, if you want to travel, if you want to shop, if you want to buy, you will need this. This video is about to get a little dark and a little deep. Stay with me. When we signed up to join these social media apps, did you know that we sold our digital rights? Now they own everything we do. But I'm gonna come back to this. What's taking place right now is the Matrix upgrade. We already live in a matrix. It's called nature. And nature gave us the greatest technology, the physical body. Your eye is a clock. Your nose is a sensor. Your ear is a satellite. Your brain is a projector. And our spine is an antenna that connects us to the stars in the universe. But we have another system that's trying to destroy the real system. And this will destroy everything. If you ever look at the back of a dollar bill, you notice that you will see an all-seeing eye on a pyramid. That one eye is artificial intelligence. But let's go a little deeper. When you look at this image, what do you really see? When spiritual people wake up, what's the first number they see on a digital clock? When you look at this image, what do you see? On each corner of this dollar bill, you see a 1, a 1, a 1, a 1. Which is 1111, giving birth to a new reality, artificial intelligence. I have a question. How many people read the contracts to join these social media platforms? Probably none of us.
Yeah.
So we sign contracts selling our digital rights. Therefore, they can take our profile and do whatever they want to do with it. Pretty serious. The word digital means finger and toe. Remember, we sold our digital rights when we signed these contracts or put a check next to it. When every child was born, our parents signed our birth rights away to the system. And we just signed away our digital rights, which is the new reality. It's a reason why digital means finger and toe. When a child is born in a hospital, what do they take? Our fingerprints and our footprints, finger and toe. They hide the truth in plain sight, but so many people can't see it. This 1111 was always with us. We thought that it meant some kind of spiritual evolution. Yeah, it do, for some of us. But it also means giving birth to our new world.
How am I just finding out now that there's going to be an Olympics next year where the athletes are allowed to take performance-enhancing drugs?
What?
It's called the Enhanced Games, and while it's got nothing to do with the Olympics organization, in fact, I don't think they like this idea at all, they promise to have all of the same events, including freaking combat sports, while the athletes can pump, juice, and dope however they see fit. The founder, Aaron D'Souza, says that they want to break every world record there is, and claim that these games will fundamentally change the trajectory of not just sports, but humanity as a whole. However, not everyone's on board with the idea. The head of the US Anti-Doping Agency called it a dangerous clown show. Two-time Olympic champion Kieran Perkins said it was borderline criminal and that someone would die if it was allowed to go ahead. Now, in response to the criticism, the Games actually believe that sport could be safer without drug testing, saying that because athletes would be able to openly seek performance-enhancing drugs, they wouldn't have to buy them from shady illicit sources, and that medical advice and monitoring will be on hand at all times to pick up any danger signs in the athlete's system. That's not even the part that I found the most interesting, because they also claim that most Olympians don't get paid a salary and are driven into debt.
I started driving for DoorDash.
I worked at Panera Bank. The financial strain is huge.
Highlighting that the tennis players who lose the first round of Wimbledon take home double the amount of prize money that a gold medal winning US Olympian would receive. They say that any athlete who decides to compete in the Enhanced Games will receive a base salary and compete for prize winnings which will be larger than any other comparable event in history. So the question is this a dangerous idea that undermines all other sports, or a genius idea that disrupts a system that needs to be changed?
This is what happened to this.
I think that's a dangerous idea, man. But once again, what did it all come down to, man? The root. It came down to the root of all evil, as I say, man. Money. People, they doing this for money, man. And I'm guaranteed there's going to be probably a lot of people in those games, man, just because of the money they're going to get at the end of that event. But it ain't worth it, man. That's crazy that they're actually going to go through with that.
his fiancée that went missing 6 days before her wedding day. On September 8th, 2009, 24-year-old Annie Lay vanished while attending Yale, where she studied pharmacology. Not only was Annie completing graduate school, but she was also working at Yale's Animal Research Center. On this night, Annie's roommate became extremely worried when she failed to come home. Her roommate immediately reported Annie missing, and when police took a look at the surveillance footage, Annie was seen entering the Animal Research building at around 10 a.m. but was never seen leaving. When police entered the lab that Annie was in, they found her personal items, but she was nowhere to be found. At first, investigators believed that Annie got cold feet and ran away because her wedding was in a couple of days. But when investigators discovered that 24-year-old lab technician Raymond Clark was the only person who had access to Annie's lab room that day, they started to take a closer look at him. Investigators began looking into all the data from everyone's access cards, and they discovered that not only did Annie not leave the building that day, but she also entered room G13 and she never left that room either. But that's not all. They also noticed that Raymond used his access card 55 times that day to go in and out of the labs. Bloodstains, Raymond's DNA, and a piece of clothing that Annie wore on that day were also found in the lab room. And a few days after Annie's disappearance, the building began to smell like human decomposition. Cadaver dogs led investigators into a restroom in front of the lab room, and Annie's body was found behind a toilet inside a panel. And get this, Annie's body was found on the same day that she was supposed to get married. It's believed that Raymond took Annie's life because he wanted to be with her and because her wedding was coming up. Raymond was sentenced to 44 years in prison without the possibility of parole.
Jealousy, evil thing.
Terry Weems and James Weems Jr. both own this daycare center called Kids Castle. James was a retired police officer, but at the daycare he worked as a bus driver for 2 years. A police officer confronted Shantiri and they told her that her husband was under investigation for SAing a child and that during the time the daycare would be shut down. Shantiri talked to James and asked him about the whole situation, and he said he had done nothing, and at the time she did believe him. A mother of a child from the daycare ends up talking to Shantiri, and she tells her that James is responsible, and she could just tell by the look on the mom's face that she was not lying. Once Shantiri hears this, she feels like her world is falling apart. She is truly heartbroken. That's when she realizes that she has to take matters into her own hands. Shantiri and James were staying at a hotel room in Washington, D.C. when she decided that she was going to confront him about the allegations. The two end up getting in an argument, and that's when Shantiri shoots James in the neck and the thigh.
Damn.
Shantiri states that she wanted to paralyze James because she was just so angry. Shantiri pled guilty to aggravated assault and was sentenced to 4 years in prison. As for James, he faces over 30 counts of child SA charges.
You guys, this is crazy. This couple from China was executed on Wednesday because they threw his 2 small children out of 15-story apartment windows so they could start a new life together. Her name is Ye Chengchen and his name is Zhang Bo. And when they started seeing each other, he never told her that he was married and had kids. So when she found out, she wanted all 3 of them out of the picture. He eventually divorced his wife in February of 2020. They had a 2-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old son, and their custody agreement said that the mom would have the daughter and he would have the son until he turned 6, and then the son would go and live with the mom. But Ye apparently saw the kids as being a burden and an obstacle on them being able to have a future together. So over the course of the next 9 months, she urged and eventually persuaded him to get rid of the kids. In November of 2020, he called his ex-wife and asked if he could have the daughter for the day. And when she got there, the kids were playing near this window, and according to reports, he allegedly lifted the kids by their legs and just threw them out. He tried telling police that he had been asleep and had no idea that anything had even happened until he heard neighbors screaming, but authorities called BS on that pretty quick. They were both found guilty of first-degree premeditated murder, and they were sentenced to death in December of 2021. But then there was this lengthy appeals process, and the court said that their first decision was absolutely appropriate, and they upheld their sentence. This is the kid's mom. As you can imagine, she was completely beside herself.
Things people do in relationships.
Somebody hearing
their mom call out their name when their mom is not home has a darker context to it that makes it so much scarier, and I haven't seen anyone talking about this.
Okay. Is that a spirit or something?
Then what's your name then?
No answer.
The video was posted in 2023 by TikTok users stuck in a fake reality. And after this experience, whatever this thing was apparently came back. This time using a different but equally familiar voice.
Don't open that door.
Now, all of these posts are hashtagged with ARG, aka alternate reality game, so it's safe to say that Gabe is not claiming that any of this is actually real, but I've heard it circling with a theory that it happened in the Appalachian Mountains, that it's a mimic, while the true story is a little bit weirder, because whatever this was, it basically found Gabe in the back rooms. Stay spooky, friends.
This woman was...
So that was all based on a game, and not, I guess there wasn't no validity to it, because they had the back ones and shit said it was in the Appalachian Mountains. What do you guys think about that one? Edit, or was that real?
Was bit by this priest when she tried to receive the Holy Communion.
Trying to force like time to put my mouth, and I was like, "No, you're not gonna do that." And he's like, "You want the bread, right?" And I was like, "Not this way." So again, I'm not gonna front. I went and I tried to grab another cookie, and that's when he literally grabbed my hand, and he just bit me, and I tried to just back away, but it was very indented before, and then volunteer. Yeah, people that stay in church right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and you want to press charges?
Yes.
Okay.
This happened in Florida during a Sunday Mass at St. Thomas Aquinas Church when this woman came up to receive the Holy Communion and was denied by the priest. She then put her hand inside where the priest held the host and tried to take it for herself. The priest then bit her arm so that she would let go, and he said that he had no other choice and that it's his duty to protect the Holy Communion. Now, this woman argues that the priest refused to give her the communion because she's a lesbian. But when authorities spoke to the priest, he said that he didn't even know that information and clarified that there's a rule that before anyone receives the communion, they need to confess first, which she apparently didn't do.
You said it, and the lady out there said the same thing, that as long as you do the correct steps for the religion, you can receive communion just like everybody else.
Of course.
Okay.
I know people who are homosexuals. They are not in a relationship. They want to be good Christians. They are following the rules, and I give them the communion. I'm not judging them. It's not my,
But this woman said that she genuinely felt like she was treated this way because of her sexual orientation and will be pressing charges.
These are videos you can never watch at night. We all know how there's some videos where you just can't watch them at night because they're that scary.
Yep.
Well, in this series, I'll be showing you all of those videos. So, be ready to get terrified.
Who are you? What's wrong with you?
Well, I know I'm not sleeping after watching that video. This video has been going viral recently and nobody knows the origins of it. It shows what appears to be a ghostly woman standing outside of some man's window at night. And she says something took her daughter and did this to her. But nobody knows what that is. The man who uploaded the video hasn't updated anybody on if he's seen her again, or if he's okay, leaving people to worry about him. But I can't imagine looking out my window at night and seeing this.
This video is
I feel like that was an
terrifying,
edit.
especially if you have children, so please be warned before watching. On the 19th of April, a group of school children were out playing in broad daylight.
They were students of Black Forest Hills Elementary School in Colorado. At around 2:20 p.m. on the day in question, one of the 5th graders' lives would be changed forever. CCTV captured an absolutely horrifying experience. 33-year-old ex-offender Solomon Galligan chased and attempted to kidnap one of the small children.
What?
Luckily, he tripped over a blanket as he tried to pursue the little boy. He continued to lunge at the small child as the kids screamed stranger danger
Nobody
to
helped?
teachers. Now, initially, Solomon did manage to flee the area and escape for a short while. The child, though, managed to give staff a description of the man. The teachers sent out an email alerting the parents to the danger, and one of the parents actually spotted him in a local Walgreens about a mile away. They reported this to police, and police turned up and arrested him. The little boy's mum said he was so traumatized he hadn't slept in 3 days. She says that it was thanks to the quick thinking of the other students who screamed and alerted the teachers that his life was saved. Several parents state that their children reported back to them that the teachers at the time of the incident were just stood on their phones. Solomon is being held in jail and is charged with child abuse and attempted kidnapping. Solomon actually already has an extensive criminal history and has been convicted of SA previously, but for some reason was roaming free.
This is the India train video, one of the worst videos on the internet explained.
Break it down.
This video that I'm about to explain is extremely awful, and it's known as one of the worst and most gruesome accidents ever recorded. The video was recorded in India, and it's around 30-ish seconds long. The video starts, and you are immediately hit with a disturbing sight. You see the aftermath of a man who had just gotten hit by a train, and it's likely this man had did this to himself. The man has a pretty large crowd around him filming the situation on their phones. The man has been completely cut in half, and you can see his intestines hanging out of his body. And crazy enough, the man is still conscious and aware, but he is in a state of extreme shock. The crowd surrounding him, which also includes children, continue to look on and observe. And despite being cut in half, the man appears to stand up on his hands, and he manages to do this for about a second, until he hits the ground again. He falls on his back, but then rolls over so he is lying on his chest, and begins to try and crawl. And at this point, people in the crowd can be seen kneeling and getting closer as they are recording what's happening on their phones, and this is where the video then concludes. This is a very short video, but it's insanely graphic. This video is also kind of aggravating to me because the crowd of people around the man are more worried about recording what's happening rather than helping a man who was just cut in half by a train. Obviously, nobody could have helped him at this point, but wouldn't you think at least one person would come over and comfort him in his last moments of life? I don't know, I just think it's sad. Also, what makes it worse is that one of the people in the crowd recording uploaded the video online for the whole world to see.
Of course.
I don't recommend searching for this video at all, as it is very disturbing and not something you want to watch.
This could be the most hated woman in America. This is 66-year-old Marcella Chidester. And in April of 2024, Marcella took off driving in her vehicle, even though she was far beyond blackout drunk. Now, Marcella was a somewhat distinguished woman in her community in Michigan. She had one point been a Commodore at a place called the Swan Boat Club, a bougie area for people to park their boats, have parties, and to enjoy some time in the sun in the Michigan summer heat. However, on that terrible day in April, Marcella took off driving in her vehicle. Like I said, hammered, drunk, she left the tavern that she was at, and she was speeding through the parking lot of the boat club when she crashed through a wall. Here's a photo of the damage that she caused with her vehicle. And sadly, on the other side of that wall, a children's birthday party was being held. And unfortunately, after striking that wall and crashing into the building at a high speed, 2 children would be killed. Those kids were 8-year-old Lena Phillips and her 4-year-old brother, Zane Phillips. Both of these 2 innocent angels were pronounced dead at the scene. In addition, a 14-year-old male and 18-year-old female were both seriously injured, all because of Marcella's selfish actions. Marcella's eventual arraignment was absolutely heartbreaking and filled with so many tears from everybody that was there. Truly, the videos and photos of this event are some of the most heartbreaking I think I've ever seen. And as someone that has struggled with alcoholism in my past and kind of beaten it to a degree, stories like this really hit home for me. There's nothing more selfish in this life than getting behind the wheel of a vehicle when you're blackout drunk. It is crazy to me And it's because of this one woman's selfish actions that there are 2 less children in the world today. And I really hope that she is persecuted to the fullest extent of the law. If you want to hear more true crime stories, listen to the podcast Murder in America that I co-host with my wife Courtney. It's available now on all streaming platforms.
The thing I never got, Secrets, man, is like, bro, like he said, if you think you can get that, like, you know, man, why don't you just have like a designated driver, call a Lyft or Uber? Like, there's no reason to risk your life or risk somebody else's life just because you're trying to drive home. It's never worth it, man. Stories like this make me don't even want to drink. I don't drink, but that's just another sign already of me to stay away from that type of stuff. Blurry actions like that, I stay away from that, man. Where the sky, you know, these edit, call them out when they see him, man.
The man behind me is the real-life human Dracula.
Come again?
His name is Tsutomu Miyazaki. He was born with a deformity that fused his wrists with his hands, so he was bullied a ton growing up. Then one day, later on in adulthood in 1988, something snapped in him. He started abducting little children, specifically little girls, and engaging in necrophilia. He would strangle his victims to death and then engage with their corpse. He would even go as far as removing some of their body parts like their hands and feet and even their teeth. One way that made him also very similar to Jeffrey Dahmer, he would pose these bodies in different ways and photograph them. On one of his last instances before he got caught, he drank the blood of a little girl. And then right after that, he ate her hand. One day, he was at the playground trying to take pictures of more little kids, and the father intervened and stopped him. So Mr. Dracula behind me fled on foot, naked, and was caught by the cops later on. That's when they discovered his disturbing collection of photos and body parts inside of his apartment. However, he blamed it on his alter ego named the Rat Man. They were not playing any games with this guy, they immediately sentenced him to death. The government hung him on June 17th of 2008. Let me know what you guys think about the Rat Man or Dracula in the comment section below. And as always, these videos are for informational purposes only.
This is
disgusting ass case.
In 1971, he murdered his entire immediate family before escaping and starting a completely new life that he lived for more than 17 years before he was eventually caught.
How?
This is a wild story. I covered it on the latest episode of my podcast, but here's an overview. In 1951, John List married Helen Taylor, and together they had 3 children, Patricia, John Frederick, and Frederick. List had served in the Army and was an accountant with a successful career, working as a comptroller for a bank in Jersey City, New Jersey. The family lived in a 19-room mansion in Westfield, New Jersey called Breeze Knoll. And 5 of them, along with John's mother, Alma, who was also living with them, were swimming in space there. The family seemed to have a happy life here. It seemed like John was successful, and they weren't super social, but everything seemed fine. The kids were popular and hardworking, and nobody knew anything bad about the family. Behind closed doors, things were not as they seemed. Helen was an alcoholic and was extremely ill from contracting syphilis from her first husband. And John List had lost his job at the bank. But instead of telling his family, he basically went to work every day pretending that he was going to his job and coming home after work hours. And he started skimming money off of his mother's bank account to help pay the mortgage. But then on November 9th, 1971, John List would do the unthinkable. That morning, he dropped the kids off at school and returned home. When he got home, he took out one of his guns, approached his wife of almost 20 years, and shot her in the back of the head. He then went up to the attic apartment where his 84-year-old mother lived and shot her as well. When 16-year-old Patricia and 13-year-old Frederick arrived home from school, List attacked them from behind, shooting them each in the back of the head. List then made himself some lunch. He went into the bank and closed both him and his mother's accounts, and then he went to Westfield High School where he watched his middle son, John Frederick, play a soccer game. After the game, he drove 15-year-old John Frederick home. And when they got home, he attacked. John Frederick tried to fight back, but unfortunately, he ended up succumbing to multiple gunshot wounds. List then placed the bodies of Helen, Patricia, John Frederick, and Frederick on top of sleeping bags in the mansion's ballroom. He left Alma up in the attic apartment because she was too heavy to drag down. He then wrote a letter to his pastor confessing what he had done, and he wrote letters to the kids' schools saying that they would be gone visiting a sick relative for a few weeks so nobody would suspect them missing. Then he walked around the house and removed every single photo of himself from all of the photo albums. Finally, he started piping religious music throughout the home, and then he left. By the time the bodies were discovered a month later, John List was long gone. And while he was the immediate main suspect in the murders, police didn't have a lot to go on, and they were unable to circulate a recent photo of him because he had removed every single photo of himself from inside the house.
Oh.
The family's car was found at JFK Airport, but John List went undetected for almost 18 years. Go to part 2.
That's insane. How do you do like an act like that, man? And you just go undetected for 18 years. Like, nobody can find you just because you remove pictures. I'm guessing since it was back in the day, you know, they didn't have the type of technology we had now where they could just find them and track them down. But that's still scary, man. Somebody could do something like that and they can just get away with it for that period of time. Karma's going to get you in there in the end, man. It always comes back to bite you. You think you're getting away with something now, but the energy is gonna revert back to you. Crazy. Seekers, if you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're a true one. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Like I said, man, guys, hit that like button, subscribe, hit that post notification button, man. Like I said, also comment on the video down below. Even if you just want to say hi, just say something, man, because it just helps us in the algorithm. So I really appreciate any action down below in the comments. Like I said, also tell me down below, man, what can I do to improve the channel? I'm always looking to improve. I got a suggestion last video that I implemented, so hopefully you guys noticed it. I'm gonna continue to grow, man. Like I said, I've seen these numbers, man. I really appreciate the support. We're gonna continue doing these daily uploads. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.